I think it's working.
All
Awesome,
right.
awesome. Yeah, I had a stream a week ago where I started it and I hit end broadcast, and
Oh,
I
nice.
don't know how. Yeah, and it was during Aussie Overlaw's 24-hour thing, and I had it set up so it would push everybody over there. So a minute and a half into it, everybody shot off over there. How are you guys doing tonight? I'm so glad you guys are here. We have, of course, everybody I think knows because all the messages and everything I've gotten. The Michigan Law Show himself is here. This is a very cool dude who happens to have, yes, that is a Millennium Falcon behind him. I've already fanboyed over it, but real quick, hey, Super Snippers, how you doing? Tweety, what's happening? Miami Spice, glad you're here. Iris, is that how you pronounce it? Right? I saw you.
Eurus,
I saw her
yes.
earlier, and you were being told how to pronounce her name correctly. I think it's Iris. So anyway,
That's
thank
what
you
I've
for
been
coming.
told.
Do what?
I said that's what I've been told. Iris. Yes,
If
Iris.
she says it, that's. I'm just proud that I remembered it today. When I saw her, I was like, "Oh
Yep.
yes, look who's here! The birthday girl, Danielle herself." That was so much fun last night.
That
So
was
much
good. And she
fun.
popped up in chat today, so that was nice on my
Oh
Jody
yeah.
stream.
Oh, she is awesome. Danielle is a she's one of that YouTube magic that where they start showing up and you're like, oh, good, I have a friend here.
Yeah, right.
Lady Autumn Sky, how are you doing? Texas Jen, who is a huge fan of yours, by the way.
I
Uh,
hear.
yeah, which is it's great. It's great because she loves crime and all the stuff, and I'm like, I've so let her down going away from it. Hey, Joe, no filter. Oh, White Rabbit's here. Hey, babe, how are you doing? I'm always surprised when my wife will show up. So, anyway, guys, just on. How are you? Oh, Libby's here too. Rock and roll. Oh, I tried to click it. Rock and roll, man. Rock and roll. He was looking for a mister system, like a spray system for outside because it's so hot in Texas.
Oh God, it would be horrible. My wife's in Tennessee, and she says it's horrible out. It's humid and it's hot. Hey, Farrell, I see everybody. Jamie and
Um,
Jung and everyone in the chat.
yes, guys, you are awesome. Thank you so much, Murph's Turf, of course, Farrell, Michael Malloy Show. That's actually the shirt I'm wearing right now. Uh, Britt Brat, how are you doing? Guys, thank you so much for being here. We're going to have a great show. Get to know Michigan Law himself. So anyway, I like doing interviews. I don't know why. I have no training in interviewing besides nothing. Hey, Callie Dime, how are you? Besides, I'm not a journalist. Well, I did get a degree in public relations, so
Did
maybe
you?
I know more than I think I know. That's weird.
Mine is in sociology. I want to know how people work. So it's easy for me to ask them questions,
Oh,
I guess, because I'm curious.
that's
Why
awesome,
do they
man.
do the things they do?
My wife is psychology, and she's a
Okay.
clinical therapist. So, which is that's another story all itself. A friend of ours. Oh my gosh! Hold on, everybody, stop the presses. Captain Have Fun is in the chat. Captain Have Fun, how you doing, buddy? Man, I wanted to get a hold of you the other day, but everything you have is you don't allow messages. Um, Caitlin, how's it going? Uh, yeah, the my wife, clinical therapist, and she better tell me I have to stop before I tell the story. She has she specialized in like adolescence and dealt with a lot of like drug and alcohol abuse and stuff like that, you know. And anyway, I took her. It was our second date, and I'm trying to impress her, you know. And I was like, "Well, I have this friend." I was like, "This is the guy." Like there was he lived on a golf course, and there's a golf tournament going on. I'm like, "Yeah, this is great," you know. So I called him. I'm like, "Hey, man," I was like, "Man, I'm dating this girl. I'm trying to impress. Can I bring her over?" And he's like, "Yeah, man, it's great. We're having a party out here. Come on in." Anyway, so we're sitting there, and anyway, we're talking, and my wife and I, we have been, I don't know, we finished each other's sentences for a very long time, right?
Nice.
And anyway, he's laughing and stuff, and he's like, oh man, he's like, she says what she does, and she's like, oh, well, that's where you met expert then. And I'm like, yeah, no, drug and alcohol rehab stuff, dude. Don't say that to her. Like, trying to impress the girl, not, yeah. So it's,
Oh, he's ratting you out.
yeah, yeah. I was like, dude, that's not cool. But anyway, yeah, she's, so sociology. Sorry.
Sociology. So sociology is different than psychology because it studies groups of people, like
Hmm.
more like an ant colony. Why do mass groups of people do the certain things that they do, as opposed to the particular individual? So that's my undergrad or one of my undergrads, and
Well, that's cool.
so I don't know,
Did,
statistics and that sort of stuff in the background, involved with it.
oh wow. So did you do it because that's what you wanted in going to law school?
I n- maybe I don't know. I found it fascinating. I decided that I was going to go to law school, and then I realized that I needed an undergrad. And so I was a contractor. That's my background.
Oh,
And
cool.
so I was like, well, what am I going to be interested in? What could I have as a fallback? So I actually went to school to get my secondary ed degree in history, so I could teach history as part of like a fallback sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then I took a sociology class, and I said I really like this. So I ended up stupid cat. I ended up going with essentially a triple major, which was secondary ed, history, and sociology. But at the end of the day, I just wanted to get out of there. And so I forewent all my student teaching stuff, just got my degrees and moved down to law school.
Oh wow, man. So like you were like the natural gunner personality. Like
I,
that personality in law school, the person who sits up front and their hands up with everything, and
yes.
the professor, they kept walking in with the laughing with the professor, and you're like, God, man, I just hope he doesn't call on me. Or at least me, I'm like, God, I just hope I don't get called on because I didn't read the case. You
Yeah, no,
know?
I read the cases. I read the cases. My hand went up quite a bit because I was usually arguing with them.
Hmm.
I would read the case and I'd get really mad, and I'd be like, "This is dumb. Why is this the law? Especially in like con law, talking about like the dormant commerce clause and all that stuff.
Oh,
Um, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And we'll call it federal blackmail, right? Yeah, so that was me in those types of classes.
oh, dude, man, it's funny because uh, for everybody listening, I think we've got closer as people in the last 5 minutes before the stream started than the last two times we've been on together. So it's funny when you say something like dormant commerce clause, and I'm sitting here going, "Oh my gosh!" Like you're making me. I get that cold chill, and I'm like, I've tried to block out so much stuff, you know. Um, I had
Things we don't want to think about because it gets us mad.
well, and this is something you have your audience. Well, to talk about your channel real quick.
Yeah, so it started off as sort of a promotional thing for my law firm, and we titled it the Michigan Law Show. It's been around for about 5 years or so, and then didn't really do a whole lot with it. Been watching trials though, and I thought, well, if I'm watching the trials while I'm working anyways, I could just stream them on my channel, and maybe get some watch hours or whatever, and we'll see where this goes. And so I started that in March with the Zachariah Anderson case was the first one that I streamed. But prior to that, a year ago, we had the James and Jennifer Crumbley were charged uh, as a result of their son doing the Oxford school shooting in Michigan. And I
Oh
thought that
my
was really
gosh,
weird
dude,
that
I
they were
forgot about
charged.
that. That was yeah. Go
That was
on.
my first live stream was doing their preliminary exam, covering that. And then I didn't really do anything at all. But then I started streaming more regularly in March of this year. And so, yeah, I stream a lot of trials and do other sort of streams, I guess.
But do you? I don't know. I don't even know if I want to ask this because it could go in a couple different ways. Do you enjoy trial streaming? I know like
I,
this recent one was a little bit mundane.
yeah, no, I do enjoy trial streaming. Well, when I first started streaming, I didn't think of the chat. The chat wasn't at all on my mind because I had streamed some stuff. I streamed some congressional stuff, and I streamed the preliminary examination of the Crumblies, and no one was in the chat, and so I didn't think about it. And then all of a
Mhm.
sudden, I had like Jamie was the first to really pop up in my chat, and I'm like, oh, I have people to interact with, and it became a lot more fun then. Interacting with the chat is really the fun part. So even when there's like downtimes in the trial, like even an exciting trial like Jodi Arias, which
Mhm.
we were streaming on Tuesdays and Saturdays, we'll have downtimes, and it's fun to be able to interact with the chat. Or like I had the Broken Baker, who's a Danish streamer.
Oh, he's
He
awesome.
actually was baking on the stream the other day because the trial was so freaking boring. He was baking on the stream, and so I have a lot of fun with it.
Mhm.
The problem is I'm still a practicing attorney, so I got to make time for the streams, plus work, plus home life, and everything else I got to do. That's the bit
Yeah.
of a struggle, but I have a lot of fun doing it. It's very addicting.
Yeah, well, I mean, I understand the addictive part because it's what happens is that it's something like you know about and you get to share it with your friends who are the chat and
Yeah.
they're interested, I mean, because like, let's just talk about my wife, she's like, I don't care. We start going down these rabbit holes. She's like, yeah, like, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't care. It just sounds boring. Um, but then your chat, they're there because they enjoy it, and so it's a, I don't know, it's like picking your friends, type of thing.
Well, and
But
it's very kind of surreal too, because I'm just right now a guy sitting in my living room, and but now I have a lot of people that kind of hang on words that I say. It's very odd. Um, I did teach actually for a little while, and it kind of feels like that, except you're not in a classroom. You're on this giant platform, and now I have people from Australia and Sweden and Denmark and all parts of the U.S. You know, chiming
yeah,
in. It's interesting.
the international group. That's the thing that so amazes me, because I'm sitting here going, like, why would you want to listen to an American?
Yeah, right.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Uh, but it's I don't know. It's really cool because when there's things that happen internationally, at least for me, I'm always find it hard to find news that's happening. You know, the recent stuff in France, for instance. Now that broke real big the other day, and they're showing France having protests, or I don't know,
Right.
brotherly love, whatever you want to call it. Uh, but and of course, France is like, oh, they've kind of locked down any type of social media. But it's just it's cool to be able to get on here and be like, so what is it really like over there? What's happening? Um, yeah, the
Have
international
you
people.
noticed since you've been streaming though that you find it harder and harder to look at other content just because you don't have the time or the bandwidth to do it?
Yes, yeah, I don't leave my channel. Is what I tell people.
Yeah.
It's uh, it's not. I don't mean to do that on purpose. I'm not ignoring people. It's just it's a crazy.
So
Uh,
I have the MLS channel, and
mhm,
most of my, phones are, right up on the MLS. And so then when I
mhm.
log into my old personal account, I was like, oh, I forgot about that channel that I used to watch all the time that covers, this sort of thing or that sort of thing. And like, I miss just relaxing and streaming through stuff that I don't get time to cover now sometimes because you're always looking for that content, what's gonna work, or you're streaming. Um, but yeah,
Dude,
it's just
this
interesting. It's
is
a whole change, lifestyle change.
yeah, it does, and it's funny. So a couple weeks ago, I was like, I, I was just tired. I was just really, really tired. I had a headache, and my wife's like, "We're taking you to the doctor." I was like, "Boy, I must really be bad if you think I need to go to the doctor." And I was like, "Yeah, I've been fighting a sinus infection." Anyway, they, gave me penicillin, whatever the heck it is, and for a few days, I'm just under the weather. Don't feel like doing anything, and I kind of got back into the stuff that I like to watch on YouTube. And I keep telling people, I'm like, the best thing I've seen on YouTube lately is a dude that is he makes clear ice for bars in New York City.
Oh,
So I mean, there's it is 100% clear. It looks like glass when you look
they
through
got
it.
to shake it while it freezes, right?
He's got
Yeah, like
well,
he
he
does.
he was he was saying that like they do it like a lake, and it's like he has two freezers set up for it. They fill it full of water, and it freezes from the bottom up, and they're constantly using like a shop vac to like suck the top layer of water off. It's a weird thing, and I was so interested in like how they cut it and shape it and how I'm sitting here going, it was a 30-minute video on ice, cocktail ice, most fascinating thing I've seen lately, and I'm like, this is. But you don't do that as a creator. You know, your free time is you might look at a few things that have something to do with what you're talking about, and then you move on.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah, you
just
do. And then like over the weekend, the last holiday weekend, I didn't stream that much because I was trying to spend time, up north with the family. Um, and so even then though, I wasn't going a little bit to my old stuff, but I was really looking at, all right, what are we going to talk about next? I'm messaging Valhalla about a stream that we're, contemplating and things like that. You're always just kind of sort of focused on that. But it's not a bad thing. It's just it's a different way of looking at everything. Let's see.
it's
I guess
a
because he was bored.
Captain Have Fun, yeah. Oh wait, where'd he go? Yeah,
Yeah, there
Captain
you
Have
go.
Fun said I got into it because I was bored. I needed something to do. I retired my dream home at 29. Been on vacation for 10 years. Enough. So now he's fighting the crimes of the internet. I don't know. I just love that he's having a great time.
Yeah, that's good.
Um, yeah, it's so like there's a person I know that they had done no streaming, and I was it's somebody associated with my channel, talked to them a lot and everything, and then they did like their first stream. Like this was always their goal anyway, and I noticed the next time I talked to them, I was like we had a different conversation because everything. I don't know the streaming life, so to speak, is just it's okay. You know how like about halfway through law school, you know that your brain has changed and it can't go back. You know,
Yes,
you're
yes,
looking at everything differently. That
yeah,
happens with
absolutely.
YouTube. I've realized. At least for me, it has. Like a few weeks ago, actually, we went down. Saw we met Valhalla. My wife and I did, and we went to um, I don't know. We went to the mall beforehand, and I was looking around. I was like, oh my gosh, like everybody looks so different here because I don't go to malls usually. And I was like, oh my gosh, I told my wife, I was like, it's like, see these like weirdos over here? I just saw a shorts on this. And and she's like, what are you calling weirdos? I'm like, see what they're doing? Like, this is a whole like image, something that they're trying to portray. I'm like, I don't know why it popped up in my feed, but somebody was ranting about it. And I just know that they're weirdos and that we need to walk on the other side of the mall. And she's like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's weird, man. It's weird.
yeah. There is that point though in law school that you bring that up, and people who haven't been through law school, attorneys are we inherently try to mitigate, right? Mitigate damages or possible negative outcomes. That's kind of what you're trained to do, and you just look at the world differently. And I can't put my finger on it, but stuff that if I go watch an old episode of some TV show, and I used to think that was funny. Now my mind goes to, well, obviously that's illegal, and that would be a lawsuit in a heartbeat. That's that's kind of where my mind goes.
Dude,
But it's the same thing with
you can't watch CSI or any type
no.
of law show stuff. I mean, people don't understand that. My wife, she loves all that crime, all the crime TV stuff, and I'm like, no. I was like, I can't. I was like, no, this isn't it
Yeah,
at
no,
all.
I can't do any. Or like everyone loves and raves about the Lincoln lawyer. I'm like, how many ethical violations did he violate in the first 10 minutes of that movie?
I think that's about as far as I got into it,
Yeah,
and
I,
I was
I
like,
watched it
yeah,
all the way through once. In fact, I think on my channel there's an old review of it. Like we used to do movie reviews, like how
Hmm.
accurate is it? So there might actually be a review of it, and that would be like the one and only time I watched it. But yeah, you just think of the world differently, and it's the same with this. I left my house today for the first time since Tuesday, and I was like, "Oh, there's a real world out here." I'm like, "Oh, I haven't seen this in a week."
Dude, oh my gosh, man, we're gonna have a great stream, and I mean, I'm gonna look up and be like, boy, everybody's gone, and we're still gonna be talking, man. That's what it feels like. Real quick, Michael Malloy show. I am still falling in like wit, grandma's house, and Michael Malloy. I'm wearing your shirt, buddy. So I saw you had grandma on today, and I made the comment. I was like, "Who's the babe next to you, Malloy?" Um, like your example of you walked outside, you're like, oh, it's daylight, or whatever it is. When I got my 500th subscriber, I did a 12-hour show, and ended up being like like 13 hours. Right? They're always over,
Yeah, you're always longer.
and I was sitting in a chair the whole time. I'm on a 13-inch laptop, and I don't remember if I went to the bathroom. I mean, it's just weird how your body. I was like, I think my body's shutting down. Like I need. There's a reason why like the Apple Watch tells you to stand up every hour. Um, and so we had our Labrador puppy. So he's a real puppy at this point, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, I'm gonna take you for a walk, bud. I'm gonna just walk the street in front of our house. And as I'm walking, it had that like tunnel vision, because it was like what I'm doing is it's like it's fading away as I'm walking. And it was the weirdest feeling. I was like, oh man, I really need to be sure to go outside more often.
Yeah, the
So,
other day I streamed. I started streaming at 10 a.m. We had a trial, and then we had something else, and then another trial. And again, I still work. So in between, like when the court's on lunch break, I'm calling clients and stuff like that. But I was going for like 10, 11 hours. And maybe even I came on yours or something. I can't remember what it was. But yeah, and then when you're all done, you like walk outside and you're like, oh, it's hot out here. I wonder what happened out in the real world today around my house.
oh
You're just
yeah,
you're so in the zone.
it's not real world if you didn't see it on the internet.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
It's so bad. It's so bad. But yeah, it's yeah, you have that crossover moment, and I don't know when that happens. Of course, everybody's different. So you're streaming of trials. You started doing that, did it in the background. Now that you've got some of these under your belt and stuff, because it sounds like okay. When did your channel start to take off?
Towards the end of Zachariah Anderson. So that would have been late March or so of this year
Okay.
is when it really started to take off. That's where, and actually it was, so I was streaming and I didn't have a large audience or subscribers on YouTube at all. So I also streamed on Facebook and I
Hmm.
would link it to my, my work profile as well as MLS and all that stuff. So I got some people in chat a little bit from Facebook. And then all of a sudden, somebody, I can't remember who it was, reached out to me and said, would you want to interview Solomon, Zach's brother? And I said, sure, absolutely. Yeah, let's do it. Because I have a lot of questions about that. And that interview is really where it took off. Well, I mean, I'm still small, but that's
Oh
really
yeah.
where all of a sudden I got, a lot of attention and people like Valhalla,
Hmm.
Nick Starov, and others started seeing me and messaging me,
Uh,
wanting to do stuff.
well, like when I said like take off, I'm assuming you're monetized now, right?
Yes, I was monetized in April, halfway through the Letitia Stout trial, and that was
Oh
my
wow.
second trial.
Today
Yep.
is my 1 year anniversary of being monetized.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
and
Happy anniversary.
so it's
Uh-oh,
Aussie
Ozzy just
Overlord and the
jumped.
viewers just joined. Say hello, everybody. Aussie, thank you, man. I love Aussie
Ozzy's good
Overlord.
people. Yeah.
Um, So guys, be sure and welcome them into the stream here. Uh, so yeah, it's 1 year. It came in, and it took me. I didn't. I wasn't always a streamer, and for the first year, I didn't even. I was just an avatar, and that's a, geez, man, that's a whole rabbit hole right there. I would, um, it's
Your
about the
face wasn't on camera.
craziness. Do what?
Your face wasn't on camera.
No, no. It just we started. I think New Year's Eve. Well, we did Halloween. We had a got a local makeup artist to do us up as the Nightmare Before Christmas. So that was, I guess, we didn't have the avatar on, but then it was New Year's Eve. Is My wife's just like, you know what? I'm going on. I was like, all right, if you say so, I'll do it too. Then, and I was like, are you sure? Because it was her. She was like, the whole thing about being doxxed and everything else like that is really bad. Oh wait, hang on a second here. Okay, Shaney's here. How are you doing? I know I
Right.
messed up her name. This is Ozzy's billboard. Did you know this?
No.
Yeah, she is Ozzy Overlord's billboard. Is how she likes to advertise herself.
Okay. All right.
So
I've seen her in my
I
chat a couple of times. I didn't know that. But very cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. And she's wild, man. You ought to have her sometime up and just hold on tight. And Miami Spice has been a member for 11 months. Congratulations on your 1 year anniversary. Thank you, Miami. Um, Fedorevsky's here. Anyway, I'm just watching the chat stuff. Guys, everybody from Aussies, please come in, say hello. This chat is great. We don't bite. Okay, they're very friendly, and Captain Have Fun's here in the chat already. So you gotta say hello to him. Be sure and check out Michigan Law Show. I've got his direct link in my description. And we like likes and we like subscribers. So, guys, if you would please do that for us, it doesn't cost you anything. And we appreciate you so much and hope you guys have a great time. Captain Have Fun's a new member. Look at this, man. This is a party. Michigan Law, man, you bring out the best, dude. This is
I
going to
try. I
become,
do what I do.
I mean, it really is. Hey, Dirk, how are you? That is a cool avatar.
We just figured
So,
out the background or the backstory behind that avatar because we had a debate about it in my Discord the other day about what exactly it was. But apparently,
really,
it's a young lady from Twitch, a gamer from Twitch. That's
not
the
the one that
avatar.
got banned recently, is it?
I don't know. I didn't get a name.
Oh. I don't
Dirk
bite, I
wouldn't tell
just
me a
nibble a
name.
little. There you go. No, it's a no, I was like, man, yeah, you're something else here. You bring people out to the playground because it's Danielle gifted 5 memberships. Thank you, Danielle.
Yeah.
Guys, be sure you have your membership thing turned on, and there is you should be YouTube should put you into my Discord, and if not, there's a link in the members only thing. Yeah, the community part, the members community thing. If that link doesn't work, let me know, and I'll post a new link up there. Oh, look who's Trouble's here. Valhalla's here. We were just talking about him.
Yes.
But see,
Would you
I'm a
call?
big
He's the God, what'd you call him yesterday?
oh, the
The
Infinity
Infinity
Stone.
Stone. Yeah, the
Yeah,
Infinity Stone, definitely.
yeah. It's like we don't know why, but it just seems like here's this guy I mean, he had like one goat video, I think, when I met him, and he's like, "Yeah, I've got like 560 subs." I'm like, "How do you have so many subs and you've never done any content?" And he's like, "I don't know.
I don't get
I
it.
just go on channels." I'm like, "How do you go on channels and you have no content?" It's just he is amazing. But wait a second. MLS, I thought Discord was like Fight Club. My Discord is
We
not. My
don't
dis
talk about the details of it. Excited. We're not getting into the details.
my
We just said
Discord
that
is
we were curious as to what the avatar was from, and we discussed
oh
it. That's all.
well, there you go. Yeah, you don't talk about it. I got you. Got you. Um, geez, I don't even remember where we were. It doesn't matter, does it? We'll
Yeah,
start
no, we're
over.
good. We'll keep going. We'll keep going. No,
So,
but my chat is awesome. My chat is very my chat is awesome. I'm gonna say it. I know I'm on your channel, but my chat is the best
no, it's
out there.
great.
They're very loyal. They throw me out there. They throw my name out there. They try to spread the good news. And they're awesome people. So
Um, and that's something we kind of talked about that a little bit last night is your chat and like how important they are. And like you have people that will go with you to other channels. And I love that. It's because I've been on Wolfram has gifted 10 memberships. Thank you so much. I am going to have to put a new link up in Discord, or not Discord, but a new Discord link up if
oh, as
YouTube
well as
doesn't take care of it.
Chris Mullen
Um,
gifted another 5. Yeah,
Oh,
all
Chris,
kinds of
thank you so
memberships.
much. My gosh, man, you guys are keeping me busy. Guess what? I don't even have Discord turned on. So no wonder. I don't know what's going on. But guys, please hit that like button and please subscribe to uh, Michigan Law Show and me. I'm always, I take, um I don't know.
Subs,
I'm grifting. Yeah.
memberships. You take all of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I take your pity. Pity is what I was looking for. Please
Okay.
be pity. Dude, it's
Uh,
funny, man, how they can how something can mess you up. It's like we were just talking about, we were kind of in our conversation that people come in. I'm like, well, you can't ignore this because these are really cool people, and I think a lot of your people are over there with Aussie, and I like seeing a lot of my people are over there now, and YouTube. It's Hey Tia Nia, and was there somebody else I just missed? Um, Gabby Salazar, welcome. Uh, I swear I just missed somebody I was going to pull up too. I'm sorry, guys. I promise I'll try to do better. Uh, Miami Spice. She's one of my mods, one of the angels as I call them, and she called it the mean streets of YouTube because they we came real close after about a year ago after I got monetized. All of a sudden, I started getting attacked, and it was weird. It's like, why are people coming after me like this? And anyway, so she calls it the mean streets of YouTube, and that's why I'm like, some people, man, like their chats are just vicious. And I don't know that because like I'm not into other chats, but it's like I've had people come in and they go, "Man, it's so nice over here." I'm like,
well,
why is it so
I
hard to be
want to take
nice?
some credit for that and give you some credit for that too, because I feel like the chat is a reflection of the host. And so you get other chats out there that where the host kind of encourages that behavior, and that's what you get in the chat. And so I think the reason why our chat is so nice is because we are at the end of the day.
So what our chat needs to do is if they don't like the chat somewhere else, they need to think about who they're watching.
Exactly, exactly. No, really,
No,
it
it's
is. I mean, I'm not going to name anybody, but you go into chats and where it can get very angry, but it's more or less it's not maybe it's not encouraged, but it's definitely okay with the host. That people get vicious in their chats, and to me, it's not. I had one incident a while back where the chat got a little mean, and I stopped everything and I called them out and I said, listen, on this show, we don't talk shit about the people on the panel and we don't directly attack anybody in the chat. You guys can mess around, you can do whatever. Those are my only rules. You don't
yeah.
attack anyone on the panel, you don't attack anyone in the chat. We're cool. And then I carried on.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, if you're gonna say something, you can't say it
You
to a
can
guest spot.
disagree. You
Yeah.
can absolutely disagree, and I encourage that. In fact, John Gary, I don't know if he's in the chat right now. He disagrees with me a lot in the chat, and I have no problem. And I will,
Hmm.
you know, debate or whatever, or give my 2 cents. But he's more than welcome in my chat. And anyone else who has a different opinion, it's just be polite about it at the end of the day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because, I mean,
And you can attack the host all you want, just not the panel, right?
That's right. That's right. Yeah, Volstorm, he knows that. Y'all don't have to worry about attacking me. He's going to be around. Just, but hey, Volstorm, could you say something to him? Um, uh, oh, here you go. Amy, Ohio. The same group goes from MLS to Nick to Mo, etc. LOL. We're all friends now. Amy, Ohio. That is, it's funny, but that's. I've had people send me messages like, "Have you seen so and so lately?" And I'll be like, you know what? Now you mention it, I haven't seen him lately. And then the chat will like they'll start talking to each other until they find where whoever it is, and because this has happened about 4 times now, and they'll make sure they're okay. It's
Yep.
I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
we
really
we
cool.
had that with a couple of people in our chat that just all of a sudden disappeared, and we were like, well, we haven't heard from this person in a while. Are they okay? What's going on? Um, yeah, and they all kind of look out for each other. It is kind of family like in that. And the thing is we don't know anybody personally, but it's a really nice group of people that all care about each other.
We talked about before about like things that happened during the pandemic type of thing, and I think that this is like a group that is we were all like had that same annoyance. Like, we can finally come together because it's like I don't know. After everything started trying to be normal again, I think people were very are in real life are very rude a lot of times, and a lot of people have forgotten their manners. And but here it's just it's a different thing. But YouTube, see, I come from Twitter, and so like I don't say nice things. My Twitter is full of like if you said, "Oh man, it rained today." It's whatever your position is on. I'm the complete opposite. And I'm attacking everything about it. Um, I hate to say that, but yeah, that's true.
Twitter is the gutter of the internet. I was on Twitter forever ago, and then I got rid of it because I never used it. And then I got it again just to kind of follow politics when Trump was running, because he was big into Twitter. And but I didn't really ever do anything with it. And in fact, I didn't even know how it works. I still kind of don't know how it works. But when I started doing this, everyone was saying, "Well, you got to get on Twitter because that's the best way to kind of push this stuff." And I was like, "All right, so now I'm on Twitter again." But it is the gutter of the internet, isn't it?
Twitter's something. I can tell we're going to talk a lot. We keep going to the streaming thing, which is fine. That's great. Like I
Oh, I don't
said,
care.
like
We talk about
we
whatever.
we'll start. We'll go where the conversation goes. But it's like for me, like Twitter, there's you can start your own groups and stuff now, and I would like to do that where I have like people that are. I mean, everybody who follows, right? They could go into an expert part of Twitter, so like I could tweet out just to them, and because I still like my Twitter, it got started in politics, and so a lot of it's like I tweeted so much that I got classified as a bot.
What, really?
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
thing.
I didn't either until I saw like a thing that said like oh see how your Twitter account goes, and I had it I typed in my stuff and it said oh yeah most likely a bot. And I was like that explains a lot because I don't get tweets until hours after they've been sent out and stuff. It's just I don't know, it's crazy stuff. But I do want to say real quick here, we've got a
I think we got a super chat. I think we got a super chat.
clumsy
Nice.
clairvoyance. I think we got a super chat. Guys, you have to check out Clumsy's channel too. She is a tarot reader, and I've never had a tarot reading before, and now she is the she is my
I
oracle.
want some
Actually, I call her
tarot
my
reading.
do what?
I said I want some tarot reading. Did she do palm reading too?
I've never asked. I'm sure she will. Oh, you totally. She may even put something up in chat. I mean, she's good, and everybody has told me is like, oh my gosh, you gotta go talk to Clumsy. Clumsy though is she's a really good person, and this last year, about a year and a half. I spent a lot of time at hospitals, and when I was going through all that stuff, I had a family member in the hospital, and so anyway, uh, Clumsy was there. If I ever needed someone to talk to or something like that, and so she's a really good person too. So anyway, I absolutely love her, and she actually did that little song right there, that little Ryan Upchurch. Are you a Ryan Upchurch
Okay.
fan?
I don't know. See, that's the other thing too. It's hard for me to do some of the stuff because I don't follow a lot of people. I don't know who he is.
So Ryan Upchurch, he's a country music, country rap, country fusion, whatever they're calling it nowadays, singer, and he's like self-made. Like I think he got famous from YouTube. Like he or just like he
Okay.
started putting his music out there, and anyway, he's now like sold millions of albums and all that stuff. And uh, he got into so my channel. I used to do true crime stuff,
Okay.
and which is
It's different
that's
than
a
what I do.
very and uh, did you ever hear about Kylie Rodney, the I almost said the blonde girl because that's what you. There's a missing blonde girl. The whole country has to go looking for.
The name
She was
sounds
the.
familiar.
She was. It was like Nevada, California. She somewhere right there is Lake Tahoe area. There's a end of school party, and she went missing, and they found her Honda CRV in the lake with her in it. So
Oh,
there's a lot of conspiracy about it and whatnot. Well, Ryan Upchurch got really big into that, and I was doing a live stream one time, and all of a sudden I started looking at the chat. And I'm like, "Who's this guy over here who says like they're Ryan Upchurch?" And anyway, he's like, "Yeah, man, it's me. I want to talk to you." And I was like, "Okay." And I put him on, and he comes. It is the Ryan Upchurch. I'm sitting there going, "Well, this is cool." And so for 40, we had a 45-minute conversation. What's funny is, uh, he had been on several channels, and they kind of like got into a fight, on like because he had like some weird conspiracy theories going. And I told him, I was like, "Man, yeah, I saw your stuff." I was like, "But I think I know what you're doing." And he smiled. He started smiling. He looks at the camera like, "You're trying to make people think." He goes, "Turn those gears, man. That's all I call it. Turn those gears." And I was like, "Yeah, man, you're just messing with them, kind of." And we started talking because we're both from Tennessee, and we started talking about he and I go to the same gun store.
oh, okay. It's small world, right?
Yeah, right, in Tennessee, in outside like Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge. There's like
Okay.
Bud's gun stores. He started talking about, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, dude, that's hilarious." And he, uh, but anyway, so that's where that super chat and everything came from. It was, you never know what's going to happen anytime you stream on YouTube. So anyway, Maggie Best dropping in to say hi and happy Saturday. Thank you, Maggie. Still has the cutest puppy avatar I've seen.
It
So,
looks like I don't even know what those dogs are called. Like
like a bulldog's what I kind of think.
is it a bulldog? I
Are
was
you
thinking of
thinking
the
of
wrinkle
this?
pup, but it's kind of hard for me to
Yeah,
see
what's
right now.
the you're talking about the one with all the wrinkles, right?
Yeah. Okay, no, he looks like a bulldog. All right, make it bigger. What are those
I
wrinkles?
know. I can't
I
think of
can't
what
even
they're
think of what
called
they're
now.
called.
Anyway,
Someone in the chat's gonna know.
of course they will. Um, they're
I
great little
subscribe
kids.
to Clumsy, by the way, so I subscribe to Clumsy. I'm gonna check
Oh,
it out.
awesome. Yeah, Clumsy. Yeah, she's good at her stuff, man. And I'll tell you what, you want to increase your female audience, have a tarot reader on. It's
All right.
amazing. It's awesome. Um, Gosh, man, I'm so lost now on where we were. I knew this would happen. Again, this was right before the stream started. It's going to be serious and do an interview and stuff. And like we've gone
Ask me
into
whatever. Ask me
pandemonium.
whatever.
Well, okay. Well, how about this real quick? So you're doing trials. Are you going to stick with trial stuff on your channel?
Right now, that's the plan is to do the live stream trials, and then when I don't have a trial that I'm covering, I don't want to do live stream every single day, 5 days a week forever and ever. I like to have some breaks in between where I can do some other stuff. I have some ideas in the fire, or irons in the fire rather, some other ideas that I want to do. But those would be like in between the trial streams. So that's the idea is to do the trial streams and then in between do some other stuff with
Uh, does your attic need Wi-Fi?
apparently it does. That is freaking the Nick Stav streamed the trial of the stalk the OnlyFans stalker. Like, this guy was living in her attic for a bit. And so
Yeah,
now Pharaoh's living in my attic is the running joke. Pharaoh's been in my attic for the last month and a half or so.
that's a that's awesome because we have a running joke on Friday nights. There's well, I mean, not just Friday nights. There's a guy who comes on and does some stuff, some streaming with me and stuff. Guava Ball, and Guava Ball has a basement, and so that's the one where he says he has all the Wi-Fi worked out in the basement, and yeah, I was like, is it a basement or a dungeon? So anyway, it's a weird.
What's
You
the
gotta be.
what's
You'll
the
learn the
difference
inside
exactly?
jokes. Do
Nice.
what?
I said, what's the difference between a basement and the dungeon? I guess it's usage.
Yeah,
What's the
I think it's
usage
just
for
the
it? I
name.
guess.
I think it's just trying to trick people with the name. But
Yeah, there we go. Don't mind the chains and the hooks. It's just my basement.
that's all it is. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Well, we give him a hard time because he's got like 25 Japanese maples and three koi ponds, and I'm like, dude, like, is your wife?
What in his yard?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, so your wife's Asian? Is she from Japan? And he's like, no, she's from Oklahoma. And I'm like, really? Because you got
I,
a lot of stuff there, man. And then one day he sends me a message. He's like, damn, I hate you. And I'm like, why? He said, I realize I do have an whole lot of Japanese artwork and stuff for a Texan. I'm like, yeah, man. It's cool, though. It's cool.
so the strangest thing. So the nicest Zen garden I have seen is a public park in Idaho Falls, Idaho. It's a city park, and it's amongst like kind of a commercial industrial area. There's like a major road running through it, but you walk down this path, and then you're in this Zen garden, and immediately all that city sound goes away, and you have these paths through these little rivers and waterfalls and things that they made up. This is the nicest freaking park in Idaho Falls, Idaho. I don't why it's there. I don't know, but it's we spent like a couple of hours there
Dude, that's so
several years
awesome.
ago. Yeah, I had to
That's
take my wife out there just to show it to her because it was really cool. Why in Idaho? I don't know,
well, you
but
know what's so cool about that is like now, and this is how your brain changes. When you're telling me that, I was like, no, this was a few years ago, he said. So he did not do a video on it.
I know that's the first thing. Is like, oh, did you do a video? I don't want to go check it out.
Yeah, wouldn't that be awesome now? I mean, you're thinking about it, it's like, man, that would be so cool because what it is you get to share with other people the way you see things. And you find people that also like the way you see things because they see it the same way or they see beauty in it they never recognized. It's just this whole uh, tubing thing. It's amazing that way. I think.
So I
Um,
saw Steph, the author nerd, went to Italy, and I keep seeing her on YouTube and Twitter posting about her trip, and I'm thinking, well, do I need to do that? Should I be doing that? Does my chat want to see that? Am I bragging because my wife is Swedish, so I'm going to Sweden coming up here. If I, it's just weird the way you think about these things.
well,
It's like, well, now I
it
got to stream
is.
this part of my life.
Well, okay, so man,
Do I?
Well, see, okay, well,
The
yeah.
other thing
So
is,
here's the thing. So like my wife and I, like we both went to University of Tennessee, and so we're big UT fans, season ticket holders for football games. So when Saturdays in the fall, I started live streaming from the games. So we get there and where we park, like I'm I'll live stream, and then of course this was a year ago, so like the people I have are entirely different now. But it was funny because you talk about picking up a different algorithm of people. It's like I start reading the chat. It's like someone's like, "Man, I'm from Kentucky. Is this live?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man, this is live, dude. This is happening right now. I'm walking around. How you doing?" And they're like, they're so amazed by some of the people. Some people are really amazed by it. And I'm sitting there going, I didn't really see that many people that my regulars. And so yeah, it's cool. And I mean, but then do you stream from Switzerland? I don't know. You
well,
just take videos you think would
and
be
like,
good to edit.
well, it's Nickel or yeah, maybe do a pre-recorded thing and edit and post it up. But Nick Storoff and the Broken Baker are Danish, and we're like an hour or so apart from each other when I'm over there in Sweden. And it's like, well, the three of us can get together and do a little video and stuff. So you're constantly thinking about that though. And like my other pastime is woodworking. And so I have the idea of doing another channel focusing on that because I'm building a boat as right now. And so, well, I've been filming it a little bit with the idea
Did
of
you say
doing
you're
another
building a
channel.
boat?
I am building a boat.
Like Noah?
Well, it's a little smaller than the Ark.
Yeah, but I mean, like he built a boat.
He built a boat. Yes, yes, yes. Like
Damn,
Noah.
dude.
It's a 48-foot schooner is what I'm building. And it's going to be white pine and yellow pine, or white oak rather, and yellow pine is the primary. And then, yeah, it's going to be awesome.
By yourself.
Well, I mean, if things get heavy, I'll get a hand or two. But yeah,
Like, do they sell a Lego kit for this?
no, no. So this is something that's been in the works for about 3 years now. I've always wanted to build a boat. I've always wanted a schooner. My dad built his boat years ago,
This is a
but
family thing.
this is a family thing. Yeah. Well, he bought the shell, like the candy shell, and then built
Hmm.
everything else. And I'm doing all of mine out of wood, and then I'll coat it with fiberglass when we're done because I'm in Michigan, so it's all freshwater here. You don't want to leave a wood boat in freshwater. But I ordered some plans of a 1918 schooner, and I've modified it. I've got some engineering books and stuff and modify it so I hopefully it'll still float when after my modifications.
And you're
You
an
get the material
attorney.
takeoff. Yes. Well, but my
And
background, remember, is a contractor and a furniture maker.
but wait a second. You're building a boat. You're practicing law, and you're doing a YouTube channel.
Yes, and I
I
have
can't
wife and
figure out how
kids
to get
too.
through a day doing a 2-hour stream.
Well, now you know why I haven't left the house since Tuesday. So
Dude, I
I'm
mean,
here. I'm in the
I don't
shop.
even want to know you anymore, man. You just made me like realize what a loser I am. Holy cow, man, you're my hero. I mean, like you walk into bars and men buy you beer automatically. They're like, I don't know why, but man, that guy smells like oak. Like he's getting a Budweiser, not a Bud Light. He's getting a Yingling.
Budweiser. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no. So I just, yeah, but then it's like, okay, so should I do a channel about that? Because, we talked about one of the things that I stopped watching doing this is some YouTubers out there that are actually building boats or restoring old boats and then filming it, and it helps fund the project. Like, I don't know if I have enough content or the bandwidth to do it enough that it would fund the project. But you're always thinking like, do I want to put that up
I'm well, it's funny because we have another one here. Michael Malloy. I will only share my Coca-Cola with Grandma's house. And what's funny is that Grandma's house, she is we did a stream about YouTube the other night, and because there's so many people will come in and say, how do you get started? I've had random people come in, still probably uh gosh, man, I just realized been a lot of people I know now that have done that. But anyway, grandma's house, she has several channels, and I don't know how she does it. I don't know how you can keep up with everything, but she knows the algorithm. She knows how to get things going, and she has like her newest thing's ASMR because that's real hot. And like for me, I would if I were if I were building a boat, man, it's not building the boat people would want to see. It's my dumb ass trying to sail the thing. Because they'd be like, man, as soon as that thing hits water, you're gonna become the Titan sub, and
Well,
they
mine
would
still
just
might. I've engineered it. So this is the thing. I'll explain this. So I've always wanted to build a boat. My idea was I was going to build this 25-foot kind of a cabin cruiser with a down below you could sleep in, with the cabin and all that. It was going to be smaller. I was going to work out the techniques and make sure like my ideas work and all that stuff. And so then my wife decided that, well, in a few years the kids are going to be gone. Maybe we can live on the boat. And I said, all right, that's cool, but I'm not living on a 25-foot boat. And so I scrapped all that, everything that I had built for that, and it's just sitting in the corner. And I started the bigger one. Uh,
wait
I
bigger than 25 feet.
This is a 48-foot, and I'm building it in my yard, so the neighbors will love me.
Did you say
48
48
foot,
feet?
48 feet. 48 feet is going to be the hall, and then it's got a bowsprit out the front.
So
But
like 50 feet. I mean, that's bigger than the minnow, and that's what Gilligan was on.
yeah. What was that? That was like a 20-footer or something. But no, but so my point was is that we have a boat now, but my wife doesn't like it because it's uncomfortable to sleep in, she says. So this boat is literally designed around the bed in the main cabin, so that it's comfortable for her. She wants like three sides. She wants like a regular bed. You can walk three sides. This boat's literally designed around the bed, so I'm hoping it floats when we're done because it's been redesigned. But we'll see. It
Dude,
might end up like the Titan. It might end up at the bottom.
well, I was going to ask if you were going to use carbon fiber to wrap the hole in, but but
Fiberglass. Yeah,
but then they
yeah,
use
that's
the
what they
thought
use.
use
Yeah,
carbon fiber weave or
carbon
whatever.
fiber. Yeah.
What's I mean, dude, I'm speechless. I really am. I don't know what to say to this because this is so much talent, and you have to have your time organized so well. Um, I'm just, I really am, dude. I'm absolutely speechless. You've got everything figured out in your life. Like you're a,
Well, I don't know about that because I don't know what you talked about. Grandma's house. She's got a bunch of channels going and she's got the algorithm down. I don't know what the hell I'm doing on this. I just sort of throw shit up and see what happens.
well, I mean, just that's the way to do it. So you doing trial stuff. So like if this trial gets over, do you have another trial lined up that you wanted to cover?
Yeah. So Sarah Boone is my next trial that I'm going to cover. She is the one that put her boyfriend in the suitcase and left him to die in there.
Yes.
So that
Yes.
one's starting July 23rd. See, I kind of plan these out. So that's July 23rd or 24th that is starting. And that's going to go for several weeks. And then I was thinking James and Jennifer Crumbly was going to go this fall. So then I get a nice break in between. And then my chat is always like, well, cover this case, cover this case. So now I was thinking I would have a couple of months or like a month and a half between Letitia Stout and Sarah Boone to kind of do some odd videos, and not necessarily stream trial. But my chat is always in there saying, "Oh, you should stream this trial so we can watch it with you." And so I end up doing trials, and so most of my stuff is trial watch.
Hmm.
But if I have nothing scheduled, my chat will very quickly inform me of a trial that's starting that I should definitely and will have to cover. So,
My chat likes to tell me about something like that after it's halfway through. And I'll be like,
uh,
"Wait, I was going to cover that." Like, because like there's something that really interests me, and there's a couple that are I've got to see what's happening with the trial stuff. And one of them is so like I used to do true crime stuff, and now I do just mod. I just try to make it through the day now. But it's, current event stuff. And then well, if there's ever breaking news, I love doing breaking news. And I did breaking news with Eliza Fletcher. And she was
Okay.
the woman in Memphis that got abducted and all this stuff.
Right.
So that's a case I want to keep up with. And I'm like, nobody's told me. Like, I mean, everybody like in the chat they talk about it. It's like, man, that was such a great weekend and stuff. Like, it was such a busy time. And do you think any of them have will tell me if their trial was going on or if there's an update? No, but I guarantee you, if I asked, it's like, hey, do you guys know anything happened with Eliza Fletcher? Oh yeah, well, it just came up. They did this, and that. I'm like, oh, thanks, guys. Thanks for
Thanks for keeping me apprised.
yeah, because like that
Um,
was my biggest stream. I think it was like, God, man, we had like 900 people or something like that. It was, which is for a small channel, is really it's
that's a
just
huge number. I've never been that high
I
at
was the
all
only
in any of
one.
my streams.
I was the only one covering they when they found her, and
Oh,
I found a lady in the projects next door was doing a live stream of her, and it was, I don't know. I tried to get a hold of the lady and stuff, and of course, it never goes anywhere. But I do have to say,
It's peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where
Murph's Turf for the budding bromance. You're both amazing. So
nice.
I
So
don't
what
know
do you?
about the.
I was gonna say, what do you see though your role is on your channel? If you're doing breaking news, are you a reporter or are you an informer? What's your role?
I'm just a dude being a dude on the internet, man. No.
That's good.
So because okay, man. I mean, I don't know. It's like if it's, I don't know, because I do any type of breaking news, and I think I do it just, it's a adrenaline rush type of thing, and you're bringing stuff in. Um, I don't have a role. I'm just a guy who talks a lot.
Well, yeah, I guess that kind of goes with the YouTube channel. There's a lot of people that yeah, so don't like to talk. I don't know. I don't mind talking. I what I was getting at is when I do the trials, my goal is to kind of educate people on what
Hmm.
real trials should be, what they should look like, how our justice
Yeah.
systems should be operating. If it's a bad case, why it's bad, why this shouldn't be like this, and because I believe our education system has done a piss poor job of education or educating our society on how the judicial system is supposed to work, and people just accept what they see on TV and what they read in the news media as all right, that's just what it is, and it's not supposed to be that way. So I like to point out, but I also like to point out good things. If the prosecutors are being above board and honest, then that's a good thing. That's what they should be doing. Or if the defense counsel is being really laxed and not really doing what they are supposed to be doing, I like to point that out as well. So
Um,
that's my whole thing. I'm trying to educate people out there, society out there, as to how this system is supposed to work.
no, it's okay. So like this, man, like you are so, you're a hero for me at this point, because when, like, the, I don't know, whatever LawTube is, right? Whatever that fiction of
Mhm.
LawTube is. Well, like during the Johnny Depp trial, for instance, I couldn't watch it anymore because it was like, they were, you'd watch a stream and they have like six lawyers on there and they all were like, oh, they ought to be doing that, and I'm sitting here going, what are the odds of six trial attorneys all being on at the same time? And they all happen to know the rules of procedure for Wisconsin. And, and they may be right, but it's like, I don't know. It's just, I
Well,
don't,
I don't. I don't pretend to know the rules and procedures. Like so, the Zachariah Anderson case. I tuned into it. I first saw. I was like, "Ooh, love triangle. This could be an interesting case." And then day one, there was like some weird stuff going on. I said, "This doesn't sound right." And then there was some new procedures that I'd never heard of before that apparently only exist in Wisconsin. So I looked it up to figure out what exactly this is. But again, I don't know um, what what these procedural things are, but I do know what reasonable doubt looks like. I do know what hearsay is. I do know what DNA evidence is. I do know what DNA evidence is not. And I do know the role of the jury, which is the most important role. The role of the jury, the way our founders set this up, is we give the state a tremendous amount of power, even with the limits even if you were to follow the limits placed into the Constitution, they still have a tremendous amount of power. The final check on the government, if they want to lock you away or execute you or whatever, is that jury. That's the people saying, you know what, government? No, we're not going with you on this one. That's the final check. But when you have a jury pool that doesn't understand, first of all, that that's their job and how important that job is as the final check on government authority, then you get jurors sitting there watching a 48 hours episode, just ticking a box. And that's the biggest problem I have with our system, the way it's set up right now, or at least the way it's
Um,
operating.
well, dude, I mean, again, like you're doing God's work. You're trying to get this across to people. Real quick, Michael Malloy, I do LAPD and Orange County police chases. Now that is those things are wild. Southern California is its own animal. But yeah, guys, I forgot. Yeah, so Michael Malloy, be sure and check his show out. And he used to live in LA, and so it's always good to have somebody who knows the area when that stuff happens. Um, so the jury, that's something that our friend Steve Gosney was talking about one time. He said, which I found very interesting because of him being defense attorney for the state, is that he said, anytime you're in front of a jury, I figure like you've got about a 10% chance of the jury going against you, no matter if you're innocent. You come in there, you think, oh, I'm squeaky clean innocent and stuff. He's like, as long as you're in front of a jury, you have that chance of that happening. Rubia, how are you doing? Um, Rubia is a non YouTube attorney. But anyway, when he said that 10% chance of a jury going against you, like that is terrifying. And I think like that, it may even be more than that. When you think of like people, they sit there, they see I always pick on CSI, but something like that, and they want DNA evidence for a jaywalking case, and it's like, have you followed any of this Idaho Brian Koberger stuff?
A little bit. I did a cursory stream on it, talking about some of the press releases, and we walked through the complaint, the information that they had. Um, so I've done a little bit of it. I haven't dove into it deep though, but I know there's some DNA issue right now with.
I covered that when it first happened, the because it was horrendous, right? And then it's like there's this knife sheath that they found evidently, and there's a piece. They found DNA evidence of him, like his DNA is on like the snap of this knife sheath. But that's like the only thing we've heard. Like that's the only place, and everybody's like, "Oh, well, he's guilty. He's guilty. He's guilty. They got him." Me playing devil's advocate, I'm like, he stabbied. I'm trying to use the right YouTube terms, right? He stabbied 4 people. There was so much DNA evidence leaking out that it leaked out of the house and down the wall of the house. I'm thinking he's covered in DNA, and they're now saying that they've discovered none of the victim stuff in like his car, in his apartment, anything. I'm like, I don't know. To me, that's
Well,
that
and
seed
so
of doubt.
yeah, and that's the issue that the state's really going to have to overcome. At least my cursory search or work on it that I've looked at, the timeline. If you take a look at the timeline based off of their surveillance videos and everything, you would have 14 minutes to drive a half a block and park. Somehow dodge the Uber Eats driver or whatever it is, the Grubhub driver.
Hmm.
Get in, you do the stabby, 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 clean himself up, get into his car, and be I don't know, what is it, like a quarter mile down the road or 500 feet down the road for that to actually be his car caught on the camera in 14 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, while it's potentially possible, I guess, that it doesn't seem likely, right? It's the whole, horse versus zebra thing. If you look at it, well, if you hear hoofbeats, is it more likely that there's a horse outside or a zebra, sitting in North America?
Oh, I like that. That's a great analogy.
Yeah. So, is it more likely that he did it in that time frame, or maybe somebody else did it in maybe a different time frame? Because you only have him there if that's his vehicle. If they confirm that, you only have him there for about 14 minutes. He still has to park, get out, dodge the Uber Eats guy, get in, do his thing, clean up, and go.
It would go all the way back, or he went all the way back, just covered head to toe in DNA
Right.
evidence. Um, it's like his the roommate supposedly said that she opened the door and saw a guy with bushy eyebrows walking by, but they don't talk about, well, like, was he covered head to toe, in
Yeah.
red
And
stuff.
this guy doesn't have bushy eyebrows. I mean, he's got
He's
weird eyes, but he doesn't have
Yeah,
bushy eyebrows.
he's
So I don't know.
socially inept, and people have just gone for it. Now, am I saying he's innocent? No, but I mean, you know how it is. You don't know how the jury's going to go, and I like to play that devil's advocate. And the main thing is you get that critical thinking going that we don't have anymore.
My
Um,
default is playing devil's advocate. Even if I agree with your position, I'll just throw it out there just for the hell of it, just to get a reaction out of you most of the time.
Dude, that's how I do. That's exactly how I do. It's like if everybody agrees on something, I'll sit there and go, no, it's completely wrong. And then people will look at you like they're shocked because, it's like person A, person B, person C, it went down the line. They all agreed. And then it's like, uh, here I am being the jerk just to say no, to make them
Hey, I
show
know.
their work. Why is
Exactly.
it this way? And I don't know. I don't know. I'm just it's content. I was gonna say I'm just an ass, but it's content. Um, so when I got started, it was during like the whole lockdown and everything, and so my first thing was Gabby Petito. She was a missing,
Oh yeah.
another blonde girl missing. Right, the whole nation went looking for her, and the reason why what was great about it was because uh, I was able to do 3 videos a day. There's enough news coming out that I could do 3 videos a day. And my thing was that everybody was just making all these accusations. And I was like, there's 3 things that matter in any case: the facts, the facts, the facts. And so I was just like, well, do we know this for a fact? I don't think we do. And anyway, so she was my first, thing into it. When I got started, I kind of thought, oh, well, I'll do like trial stuff and everything else because, right? I mean, that's what you do. And then, but now I do not like the true crime stuff. There's a lot
They
of the
play on
creators of true
emotions.
crime do I?
I would say they play on emotions, right?
Yeah.
And they want to tell a dramatic story, but in telling that story, much like a prosecutor giving a bullshit opening argument, they are speculating and making shit up. That's the problem with true crime. And they're saying it as truth. They're saying, well, Ryan or Brian
Koberger.
Kohlberger, yeah, he's this monster guy. He studied political or not political science, but um,
Oh, criminology.
yeah, yeah, he studied criminology so that he could plan the perfect case. Really? Is it? Or is it because he wanted to be a police officer or a professor in that or something? But
Yeah.
but they say it like, he studied and how to pull off the perfect crime. Um,
Can you study how to pull off the perfect crime?
I don't think so. I don't
I mean,
know.
right?
I
I mean,
mean,
is there a class on that? I missed that. You think there'd be a lot more
well, it's law
criminals?
school, right?
Yeah, right. I mean, what I find is that everybody who's a criminal is usually they do dumb stuff, and they think that if they tell the cop, "All right, can I be honest with you?" That's how it starts off, and as soon as they say that, it's like, they're guilty. I don't even care anymore. Rubia, thank you, Rubia. So Rubia, she was here a year ago when I got monetized. Rubia is so
Nice.
great. This is actually my 1 year anniversary, July 8th, of being monetized. It's great seeing you here. You got started being nice, tell the truth, and White Rabbit is the boss. That is true. Rubia's goal when she met me, and she had taken some time off, and she found out about YouTube and was like, "Oh man, this is exciting stuff." Like people, what is this? And then she realized, no, it's not that exciting. No, she was like, "No, I'm going back to work now. You guys can have YouTube." But for like a couple months, she was like, "I am going to make you say something bad about somebody before I leave," and because she was just she couldn't believe that. I was like, "Oh well, they have a point, maybe, or they at least they think they do, or something like that." She's like, "No, no, it's wrong." And I was like, "I don't know, man.
Well, that's
Just
the thing.
thank you, Rubia."
You can say a lot of bad things if you want to be that guy. I know I get that sometimes too, where people are like, they want to say certain things about certain people, but everyone has their opinion in this space, and so that's part of like the sociology. That's why I think I was attracted to it so much,
Hmm.
because once you understand, like nobody, you know, even in good movies, we have the bad guy who is
Hmm.
evil. He's not evil just for the sake of evil. He doesn't see himself as evil. And everyone out there in the world doing bad things doesn't necessarily see themselves as a bad guy. They justify it in their mind. So, how are they justifying? That's what I want to know. If you think somebody's doing a bad thing, how is it that they're justifying it in their mind? Because nobody's going to say to themselves, I am absolutely going to do this bad thing. And so that's what, so I don't trash people and say they're a bad person. The question is why are they doing the thing that they're doing? Because it's justified in their own mind to some extent.
You know, and maybe this is kind of like picking on, the person doing something bad. Sometimes it seems like that's an easier path. It's very lazy to be. You can be being mean is very lazy.
It
It's
is.
easy to sit there and cuss somebody. It's easy to sit there and say bad things about somebody, but to stop yourself and think, well, wait a second. What if they obviously think your opinion's in the wrong. That's harder to do, and I don't know. It's
Well, road rage, right? Someone gets
oh
upset
yeah.
and they're screaming and yelling at you as they drive by, honk their horn. You're probably not the first thing going through their mind. There's a ton of other stuff that happened to them that day or yesterday. And the results of that is being expressed now against you. He's late for work because of whatever. There's other things going on. Or somebody who feels like they need to shout you down in, say, a political debate, because for some reason along the lines, they were taught that if they shouted long enough, they could win, even if they have stupid ideas. Whether it's with social media or whatever, or it could be just, I'm going to trash this person because that will make me popular in a certain segment of society and I'll get famous for it. So there's a reason in their mind that they're doing the things that they're doing. They're not just, I'm going to be an asshole today, so therefore I'm going to do this. That's that, and that's why they're doing it. How they justify it in their mind is always very interesting.
So okay.
That-
You said like in politics, for instance. One of the things that I've noticed, and this is really the last couple of years have become very polarized, And it is not only are we going from the extremes, but it's for me again. Maybe I would just see it differently than everybody else. Nobody cares anymore as long as it's their team that wins. It is for me. It's a rival football team. It's like Tennessee. Like our natural rivalry is Alabama, so it's
But
like
nobody cares that they're playing the game honestly.
that's the
They
key.
can go ahead and, face mask all they want and kick people down when they're down and all that stuff. They don't care as long as they win. Um,
And you know what I said like, a few years ago? I was like, I'm going to do something different. Because again, we have season tickets, we're in the stadium and stuff. It's like I am going to call a like I'm not going to say like a bad call. If like Tennessee benefits from a bad call, I'm going to say that was a bad call. We should not get that. Like I would rather win by both sides getting good calls than win because you think the referees are for the other team, or whatever else, right? It's always, oh, the refs, they're bought by Alabama. All those guys are all big Alabama. They want them. I hear a lot of that, and uh,
well, hey, I'm from Detroit, so I have the Lions. We lose by getting freaking penalties called again and again and again and again and again, and you just push us all the way. We can't get a freaking play in without a penalty because they I don't know. I can't explain it why we get so many, and they're good called penalties. Like there's a couple of them, like the stupid catch rule now that we have was the result of the Detroit Lions game. But outside of that, the Lions are just doing stupid stuff. You know what? You deserve to lose if you're going to continue to do that. But I get what you're saying. Call them out on it.
yeah, I mean, it's just I don't know, but like in politics, it's like it is driving me nuts because it'll be the exact same issue, but if one side is doing it when the other side's in power, it's okay, And I'm like, I don't know. It's stupid. I try to steer away from politics so much on here that I don't even like talking about it. I get into it and I start getting tongue tied because I know I'm going to that dark rabbit hole. Um,
Well, I'll tell you, my two favorite topics are
yeah.
religion and politics, but I don't talk about them on air.
Oh,
I
dude,
don't.
smart man, smart man.
Yeah.
Well, listen, since we've got everywhere, the squirrels are going crazy at night. Let me ask you this: so, the you came on tonight, and first thing I said was like, "Oh my gosh, you have a Millennium? Is that a Millennium Falcon lamp?" And you're like, "Yeah, it is. It's a
Yes.
reading lamp. Absolutely love it." So, I don't think being an attorney makes you who you are. I don't think, maybe I think woodworking, I think building a boat is more insightful about who you are than anything. But also, you're obviously a movie fan.
Well, of a certain brand of movie heroes, there's no,
Is it
I told my chat that if you come, you can see a different part of my Star Wars room. So
that is
you
so
might.
you have a dedicated Star Wars room.
My family room is all Star Wars. So like every little part of it, I'm still working on it. So I've got actually I'm working on an entertainment center right now out in the shop that looks like a cockpit control unit from an AT-AT Walker. That's going to be my entertainment center, and
Dude.
yeah, and then I got a couple
That
of wall things I got to do.
dude, man, like you're just killing me. You're killing me. Like I'm that guy that's like I'm sitting there. I want that the Lego Millennium Falcon, the big $800 one.
The I can't justify it. I got the smaller one. You see it on the wall there. I got the
It,
smaller one.
oh, that's
That's
Lego. Oh,
just
no way. That
yeah,
looks
yeah,
really
yeah.
good,
That's Lego.
man.
Yeah.
That looks
So
really
these I
good.
got like birthday presents and
Oh,
Christmas.
wow.
I still tell people to buy me Lego for my birthday and for
That is
Christmas.
awesome.
But that's the smaller one because I couldn't justify the $800.
Well, what's funny is 2 years ago, I think, on Amazon Prime Day, that Millennium Falcon was half off. And I keep
The eight
telling
hundred
people, like,
dollar one?
yeah, it was $400. And I told it to my wife, and she's like, $400 for a Lego? And I was like, it was half off.
Yeah, right. Now, mind you, your wife will do the exact same thing if she finds like a dress or something, right? Women do that. Like, oh, it's half off, so I had to buy it.
Well, now I am a sucker for that. Like if she's like, "Hey, I found a Louis Vuitton purse at half off," I'd be like, "Oh, that's a great deal. You don't see those on sale."
Yeah, but
So
see, but you agreed.
I'm an
You agreed
enabler.
to it. Yeah.
I'm an enabler. No, she'd let me have it too. She'd just be like, "Yeah, if you get $400, you didn't have it." I'm like, "Well, how can I get $400 in the next 12 hours?" And she's like, "A lot of guys think you're pretty." I'm like, "What? What?"
What will you
Yeah,
do for
she's
Legos?
yeah. But no, have you seen the this year they have the $800 first time, the only thing since the Millennium Falcon is a AT-AT.
Yes, that thing is awesome. And again, I bought the smaller one, which is sitting on the other side of the room, because I can't justify it, but I still want it. Uh, I really do want them, but I can't justify the larger ones in
Oh
my
man,
mind.
it's crazy. And then they have the light kits for those things now, and yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
yeah. When they're to scale, like the smaller units, like the Millennium Falcon above me, is not to scale with the minifigures, but those larger ones are to scale, which is amazing to me.
no
The
way.
AT Walker and the Millennium Falcon are to scale with the minifigures. That's why I really want it, but
Oh, dude,
I would feel like ashamed of myself. I feel a
me
little bit,
neither.
but now $400 Prime Day is coming up, isn't it? Like
Yeah,
in
it's
like
coming up
4 days.
June or July 11th and 12th.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So I didn't know it was half off last year. I might be getting myself a Millennium Falcon. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna do it again, but man, that was the deal. Like I think it was like 2 years ago I saw it, and I was like, oh my gosh. But the that reminds me of something else. Um,
849 right now.
mm,
It's in my shopping cart though. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see Prime Day.
yeah, see if
I'm
it
gonna check
goes,
it out
man.
again.
Well, you know what else? It may do that deal that Amazon does, where it's like what 4 or 5 months, no interest on a purchase.
Yeah, God, but
It's not
still
even a
paying
credit
like
charge. It's just like, oh hey, stretch
same
out the
as cash.
payments.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, that's cool. So that's only $100 or $75 a month for like 5 months, whatever they do their deal on.
I got a buddy of mine who will buy stuff. He just bought the larger AT unit, and
Mm,
he's like, he sends me a picture of the box. He's like, look what I just got. Want that? He got the Millennium Falcon last year, probably on Prime Day. But he
mm.
always sends me pictures, and I'm like, I wish I could justify. I wish I could do it. I can't look at my wife in the eyes saying I just spent almost $900 on a Lego.
Well, she doesn't have to know.
Well, true, I guess. She doesn't need to know the price, right?
Yeah. Do you have a
We'll
you have
clip
an
this part out.
yeah? Well, she's not gonna watch it. She's having fun with her
Yeah,
sister.
she's not.
Here's
She
the
doesn't even
thing.
watch my streams. She watches Emily D. Baker. She doesn't watch my stuff.
Oh, dude, does that kill you?
No, I'm cool with it. She started
Oh,
watching Emily D. Baker on the Alex Murdaugh case,
hmm,
and that one we watched it together because I would watch. Was it Ricada that was covering it, and then
yeah.
Baker was covering it, and so we would both watch our respective streams during the day, and then we talk about it at night about what we thought of this and that. And she was like, "Well, Emily said this," and I was like, "Well, Nick said that," and yeah.
That is awesome. So Emily Baker, she's a lot of pulls up your analytics like where people go and where they come from stuff. And I have a lot of my uh, uh, subscribers. They follow Emily, and they're always saying something great about her. And I'm like, I don't watch her. I don't. I'm like, here's the one thing. Nothing against her. I know she is. I've seen her a few times, but it's what we were saying earlier about you don't find yourself watching other channels that much. And when I do, I like to watch smaller channels.
Yeah.
It's because I mean she will never know who I am. She will never. I have a better chance of running into her at getting gas than I do of her ever like finding me on YouTube. Um, but someone like your show. I mean, heck, here we are. We're hanging out. I mean, that is so cool.
Right.
Like there are people, in the chat right now that are excited that we're hanging out just talking. And I think that's so mind blowing, and I love that because it's again, it's that's it's like the small business, like it's like helping out the small business thing. I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, and I like that it's a community. We all help each other. We all help each other grow. Yeah, much like a small business. I am a small business owner, not only with the MLS stuff, but with my law firm. And you know, being a part of different groups and associations, and you help build uh, each other up and things like that. Like I used to be part of some networking groups where we would have like one person from every industry. It wasn't BNI, if you know what BNI is, but it was kind of that idea. So we'd have like one real estate agent, one attorney, one insurance guy, whatever. And it was like, hey, if you needed a referral, this is the person that you referred to because you help all of yourselves grow, grow at the same time. And this is much like that. And when you find somebody that you connect with and you like what they do, you help each other out, dual stream or have each other on and promote each other. And it's a nice little community.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I have to again give a shout out to Valhalla, man. I hate to say it, but he's probably more instrumental in this than I know than what I really know. I don't know. Well, he and Danielle came in, and then um, um, Just Dawn and Libby. They were all like, you got to meet Steve Gosney. You got to meet Steve Gosney, and then that happened, and that's how I met you. And well, actually, it was what Ozzy Overlord was. Which one was the first one we were on?
I think the first one we were on together was Ozzy's 24-hour stream, but
Okay,
I think
yeah,
that's what it
okay.
was. Or have you ever been on Vices? Maybe you were on one of Vice's panels that
No, I don't really
helped
know
interview.
Vices.
No.
And that's what everybody asks me. And I think that's funny that I'm like, yeah, I'm like the only person who doesn't know him. I've been on a few streams with him, and he'll say, he came on Aussies for a second, and he said goodbye to everybody except for me. And I was like, oh, awesome. I was like, he has no idea. And I was like, this is the
He
second
has
time
no
I've been
idea.
sitting on a thing with him. This is great. I've been on a stream where do you know Jessica Reloaded?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
She's
yeah.
okay. Well, like I was on a stream with her, and he came into the chat, and it's like, she said hey to him and stuff. I was like, hey, like what? No idea who I am. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So, no, I haven't been on his stuff. Um,
But no, so it must have been Ozzy then that we first were on a stream together. But I had watched you, and like I was talking about Hala earlier, and because we were talking about like, people come into the chat, and it's like, well, how do you know who they really are? Because Valhalla was in my chat, and I didn't really know who he was. I just saw the name, but then I saw his stream with you. You guys were dual streaming, and I said,
mhm.
all right, so Valhalla is, for real. He's, he's just a cool dude. He's not, why is he everywhere was kind of the thought that I had in my head. But then I saw him on your stream and I was like, all right, so, he is, he's
That was
just
the
a guy talking on the internet, right?
interview
Um,
one, right?
yeah, the interview one. Yeah, that's the first time I saw him really on anything, doing anything. And it was a good interview. It was a good stream. And I think I popped in the chat because I had seen him in my chat. And
Hmm.
I'm very active with my chat. I pull it up a lot. I engage with my chat quite a bit. And Valhalla is life. I like that. And so I popped into your chat
Hmm.
and then he was like, "Oh, hey, MLS, how you doing?" And so then we just started chit chatting. We did a stream together, and but he's been great on um, kind of bringing a bunch of people together. And then also, Let's Go Brandon came into my chat, and
Hmm.
then was like, "Hey, I want to try to get you with a Joe on Good Logic." And so he made that happen. And there's people out there that just
Oh,
make
cool.
things happen, and it's great and try to connect people.
Isn't that funny how it's a community that you never thought you'd at least me, I never thought I'd be part of this, where it's like people just want to see you with other people. And
Yeah.
uh well, I mean, you know what? It's their entertainment. They get to control the television shows, right? I
Right?
mean,
Yeah, yeah, they do. It's like if I would really like to see this actor portray this particular character, alongside this other character in this movie. Um, the chat can kind of orchestrate that a little bit. If someone like Valhalla was like, hey, I think I'd love to see MLS on experts or something. I'm going to get these two guys together. He kind of orchestrated that, and so it's a very weird situation to find yourself in.
Yeah, I mean, right. I mean, it's crazy. Like me in a chat, I've never had a person, a streamer, like recognize me. I mean, now I do, but it's the few people I know. But I'm like, this is like it's crazy how they come in like, oh yeah, well like Valhalla, he's a perfect example. I'm like how did you meet so and so? How did you do that? And he's like, oh, I'm just in the chat. I'm like, that chat is huge. Like how he got on Ricada's stuff. I'm like, how did you get in there, man? Like that's
How do you get a wrench on Ricada? That's what I want to know.
because he pesters you to death. I mean, he's like a tick. Like if you don't get a tick off of you before they sink in, well, he's that sunk in tick. I mean, it's crazy how you about wrenches.
Yeah,
It's crazy. It's crazy. I finally gave up. I finally gave up. I
he
was like,
finally
yeah.
gave up and gave him one. He
And
was
but I had to keep taking it away because my mods are like, no, you do not give. I had a wrench problem at one time, and and so until it got cleaned up, oh yeah, Valhalla. I got blessed out a few times about him, but he's good people. I hope
no,
he's
he's
here and
good.
hears
He's
all this. um,
uh, but yeah, no, it's just that and then like I got called out on not called out in a bad way, in a good way on like Eric Hunley's stream by Joe and Chandler Remington, and people were like messaging me like, "Oh, you got to go over there. They're talking about you." And it's like, well, how the hell does these people all know who I am? Or it's funny. So when COVID, if I could say that word, when the lockdowns and all that stuff happened, I was I filed the first lawsuit against our governor, as well as the attorney general and
oh, you
the
did.
DNR and stuff. Yeah, yeah. And so that made it to Viva. Viva actually did a stream about it back in like April or May of 2020, because that was like the first lawsuit, and we had a really dumb decision from the district court judge, and it was like circular logic and all kinds of stuff. So he did a whole stream about it, and that's how I first discovered that there was even like a law tube out there. Because then I started following Viva, but I reached out to him.
You kind of
I was like,
remind me of
"Hey,
him.
do
You
I?"
kind of have like that
We have the
same
same name.
mannerism as him. I love it, man.
Um, but I reached out to him. I was like, "Hey, I'm the attorney that's heading this up. I'd like to get some publicity going on this. Get people talking about it if you want." And never heard back from him again. And then like 2 weeks ago, I'm on a stream with him. So
Oh, that's
it's just
cool.
kind of weird. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Um, so it's funny. I can tell that was the your story to tell was about Viva. Me, I'm sitting here going, wait a second, you filed a lawsuit about the lockdowns, and that's
Yeah, I
what
can
I'm
talk
like.
about it if you want.
But yeah, I kind of would like to know a little bit about that. So
Yeah.
I'm
So no, I was going to say, so Michigan with our Governor Whitmer went really strict really quickly, to the point where you couldn't access your second home. You couldn't use any of the state's land. You couldn't go to any state park or anything like that. You couldn't work even if you were working like outside. We had things where you couldn't go outside unless you were engaging in manual labor. So, like if you had a riding lawnmower, technically you were violating the law. And there was like yeah, about 12 really stupid restrictions. And so I had a bunch of people, and we filed, and we said all of these 12 restrictions we filed against the Attorney General, the Governor, and the Department of Natural Resources. And we filed, and we show caused them, or not show caused them, we filed an injunction. And the day after we served, they removed 8 of them. Like you could then go to state-owned land. You could, access to the waterways. You could go to your second home. You could work outside if you were like by yourself. If you weren't like working in a group and things like that. Because I had like landscapers were like, I send one guy out with a lawnmower. You're telling me he can't work, and so So 8 of the 12 were immediately lifted the next day, and then we were litigating over the 4, and the 4 were like weird operating hours and things like that. And so, one of our arguments were under freedom to associate. Like we have the
Hmm.
right to associate with other people. You can't tell us we can't go visit,
Yeah.
your parents' home and things like that. Um, but so of the 4 that were left, they were like the hardest ones to argue. And the district court judge came back with sort of a weird circular logic thing, uh, relying on a case from 1908 that
Oh,
involved immigrants coming into the country and being quarantined for a short time during the Spanish flu. And you're like, okay, well, first of all, they're immigrants coming in. The government's the government is more strong at the border than anywhere else. But we're not talking about immigrants coming in. We're talking about people being able to leave their homes. Completely different situation. And this quarantine was it was short. It was like 2 weeks or something like that, or a week. This law was unending. It was until further notice.
hmm.
And so I was making all of the distinctions, but the court relied on this one case and did this weird circular logic thing. And I said, so the founding fathers would be okay with this, was kind of my thought. Like, you really think the founding fathers would be like, well, you have all of these rights unless there's a pandemic. Then really none of these apply. That's going to be
Yes.
your
Yes.
stance, Judge. Okay. Um, and so that was the decision. It was really a bad case, or like a bad opinion. And then Viva got a hold of it, and people were, at the time they were Facebooking me and emailing
Hmm.
me saying, "Hey, this guy's doing. He's got a YouTube channel. He's Canadian, but he's talking about your case." And so then I messaged him, and I didn't get any response. But I ended up local television. I did Fox News, and then I
Oh, wow.
did NPR, and then what is the one over in England? Not PBS. The
BBC.
English BBC. The BBC interviewed me, and so there's a ton of interviews out there
Oh,
of me.
wow.
And we had some other lawsuits going too regarding schools shutdowns and things like that. But that was an interesting time because when everyone else shut down and was like out of work, I was busier than all hell. At the time, I had a staff of 4, and we were busy filing lawsuits, one after the other, and doing stuff. And it was a fun, exciting time because I drive to work and it was like a Sunday morning, at
Yeah.
Monday afternoon. No one's around. It was like a ghost town. And but yet I was still working and churning, and we were in litigation. I remember I had to go file these things because they were emergency injunctions, so I had to file them in person with the Supreme Court in Lansing. So we would drive there, and it was like a ghost town. We'd park, and you have this like long kind of a mall with these monuments and stuff up to this courthouse. It's a ghost town. You got to knock on the door, and a guard comes out, and he like slides a paper box out. He's like, "Put your pleadings in here," and I drop them in, and then he pulls them back in. It was weird. It was really, but we were doing important work, so we got it done. Um, and I consider if you have 12 infringements on your rights, and we file a lawsuit and file an injunction and a show cause compelling you to appear in court, um, and you immediately lift 8 of them, I'm going to consider that a decent win. It's not a full win, right? We didn't get all 12, but that was a decent win out the gate. So that was my
Because
that was
somebody
my
read that, and they started sitting there thinking, man, you know what? They got a point. Because I mean, I'll be willing to bet that when they pass the law, I bet you it didn't even go through a legal department. They're just like, we're going to do this real quick. And it was like this
it
big
was an
power grab.
executive it was an executive order. Literally, it was a page and a half document that the governor signed under this emergency health rule. And then we were battling the legal authority with that. And then the Michigan House of Representatives ended up picking that ball up and running with it, and got the court finally to declare it unconstitutional under the Michigan Constitution, that this law that allowed the governor to do this went away. So then they decentralized it. It's like, um, if you kill the leader of the cartel, you get a bunch of
Hmm.
these little cartels jumping up. That's what we had, literally. It was like, so then we finally got to the point where the Supreme Court said the governor doesn't have the authority to issue these. And she's like, well, but your local health department can. So now we have, I don't know, 50 counties. So now there's 50 little rules popping up everywhere. And so
Oh
you got to go whack
gosh,
them
yeah.
down, whack them down, whack them down. So it created just this giant headache. But at least you were somewhat following the law, because the law said that the local health um, minister can impose these sort of things, but the governor can't. It was a really weird time.
The health department thing. I've got something to say about that, but before then, two drink minimum, sir. Thank you, or ma'am. Thank you so much. You know what? I haven't had a chance since two drink was in here last. I was going to put a hashtag for my channel that it's two drink minimum. I just
Nice.
feel like that is very fitting. I do not know two drink minimum personally or anything else, but it's a great supporter of the channel, and it's always two drink minimum has the two drinks that I like. That is so cool, and this is the magic of a community in the tube world. So anyway, thank you so much, two drink minimum, and whoops, I just turned off my wrong thing there, so that's good. So
Juliet
you're
five
going.
four three asked whether or not I still have staff. Actually, I don't, and it's so freeing and liberating, uh, because I literally I went to the office today, and for the first time probably in 2 weeks. But if I had staff, I'd have to go in there every day, because you got to babysit the staff, right? You got to make sure what they're doing is right. You got to read, their drafts, because the buck stops with you, right? And so all your associates, all your paralegals, your secretaries, everything's got to go through you. And so it's actually less work for me to not have the staff. And I just downsize the number of clients that I have. Obviously, I can't take on as many cases without attorneys, other attorneys working. So yeah, no
Um,
staff. It's just me now.
Yamaha Biker said, "What about what they're trying to do now, making a felony in Michigan to misgender? That's not unconstitutional. Do you have anything with that?"
Making it a felony to misgender. I don't know that. Now, what they have done is provided some statutes that are imposing rights on transgender people consistent with, gay people, or, national origin and things like that. But I don't know if it's a felony. I don't know about that. I'd be curious if you got a bill or something that they're talking about, because I don't know anything about that.
Um,
Well,
well,
we
I
did
just
have something really dumb passed in Michigan, which says that you cannot discriminate. By the way, so a little background: we have this law called the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act, and what it says is that in employment situations, you cannot discriminate based off of age, gender, national origin, things like that, which is all fine and good. They just amended it to include somebody's natural hairstyle. And the
oh yeah.
definition of a natural hairstyle is a historically recognized or traditional hairstyle, including weaves, braids, and something else. And it's like, well, how historical are we going? Can you not hire a white guy with a mohawk because he's infringing on Native Americans? There is the Mohawk tribe, right? How historically are we going back? Are we going back to the 70s? Or is that too recent? It's just a really stupid worded law.
It's that playing sports with politics. They are trying to. There's something more important they want to get through, but they want us arguing about haircuts. Because
Yeah.
you know what, you never thought about a haircut being a political issue. And now all of a
Mhm.
sudden it is. It's stupid. There's no standard for what a haircut is that I know
Yeah,
of.
exactly. What is a haircut? I mean, what is, and what's historical? And if someone that's not supposed to have it, I guess, can I hire them, or is that going to be a problem? I don't know. I just see a lot of problems as an employer with this new provision. Or like,
Yeah.
hey, there's there's something to be said too about um, having the right to have your employees have a certain look, right? So you want, a certain, in a law firm, I'm not necessarily going to hire somebody with a bunch of face tattoos to sit at the front desk. It doesn't look professional. I'm sorry, it doesn't.
Yeah.
You might be better off sitting at a front desk of a salon or something, right? So do I have that right to say it about the hair too? I mean, what if you're sitting there with a mohawk? What if you're sitting
Okay.
there with, you know,
This wouldn't be my channel if I didn't bring up this. So you're familiar with the restaurant Hooters.
oh yeah, oh yeah,
Okay. So Hooters in their employee handbook, the girls are not allowed to have ponytails, and so their hair always has to be down, and they're not allowed to have any visible tattoos.
yeah. I see nothing wrong with that because there's a
And
brand.
yeah, it is. It's their brand. It's their brand. Did you see here where Yamaha Biker said it's House Bill 4474?
Yeah, I'm already pulling it up.
All right. That's why I saw you doing that. So I was like, okay, you saw this.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's that's part of their thing. So like if
Intimidate or harass another individual, causing bodily injury or severe mental anguish. Severe mental anguish. Okay, you can't hurt their feelings. Um, damage, destroy, or deface any real personal. Okay, yeah, you can't damage property. Already a law, people. Based off of the race, religion, sex, origin, or sexual or orientation, gender identity, physical and mental disability, age. So, okay, so what they're doing is they're basically taking a bunch of laws that already exist, saying, you know, you can't um, you can't harass or destroy or punch somebody, say, as a basis or because of their race, religion, color, sex, uh, sexual orientation, things like that. That's what they're doing. Here's the problem. This is a version of Sharia law. It really is. Like, okay, so you look at Western law. Western law says the law applies the same, regardless of your race, regardless of your gender, regardless of anything. Sharia law doesn't. Sharia law, if you're a Muslim and you attack a Jew, you're going to get
okay,
punished, but less so if you're a Jew attacking a Muslim. So now your race and your gender and all of that is the same with a woman attacking a man versus a man attacking a woman. Why should we treat people differently based off of their national origin, their race, their gender, or anything? Shouldn't they be treated the same? And I understand the lawful ideas of it, right? Well, we don't want you harassing somebody just because they're different. Great. We already have a law that says you can't harass people. Why does it matter if they're different? If you're harassing, if you're battering, if you're destroying property, it doesn't matter the race of the individual or their sexual orientation or anything,
you're breaking the
unless you
law.
want it to.
Yeah.
Unless you want to treat people differently because of their race or their national origin. So that's fine, but don't pretend that you're trying to bring anybody on equal footing, because what you're doing is you're giving others special treatment.
Isn't Liberty? Doesn't she carry scales, a sword, and is blindfolded?
Well, she peeks under the blindfold these days.
Oh, okay. Because I thought you were supposed to be blind to like everything like that. It doesn't matter. You're okay. Like you are an American. You have rights that are protected by the Constitution. But I don't know. They
That's
said
only if the
Sharia.
courts decide to enforce those. Well, and I'm not saying it is Sharia law. What I'm saying is it's like Sharia law, because Sharia law has built in, like, we're going to treat people differently. Okay, it is what it is, right? Just
Yeah.
recognize what you're doing with these laws. If you're saying that because of somebody's gender, or like, the hate crime thing, right? We're going to charge you with this added count of a hate crime because we believe you did it because of the color of their skin or something like that. Why is that better? Why? What are you trying to achieve? You're trying to treat people differently. Is what you're doing. You're giving people special treatment. And there's a thing I deal with a lot in race discrimination with the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act, right?
Hmm.
So it says that you can't discharge somebody because of their race, for example.
Hmm.
Um, and there's a lot of lawsuits where people say, well, they fired me because I was black. Okay. Or they fired me because I was a woman. I had a guy come in and said they fired me because I was a guy. Do you know how far that lawsuit went?
Yeah.
So why are we treating women differently under that standard, right? It doesn't say you can't fire a woman because she's a woman. It says you can't fire somebody because of their gender. But yet, it's somehow in the minds of the courts, it's treated differently, right? So what you're doing with passing these laws is you're giving people of certain races, national origin, sexual orientation, special rights, and that is the unconstitutional part.
Isn't the term or whatever, it's like the traditionally discriminated against class or something like that? It's the
Well, they call it reverse racism because you have
oh
to
yeah,
put the reverse in there. They call
yeah.
it reverse racism, and that's like it's been
It's
in
just
pleadings
it's just
because it can't be
racism.
just racism. No, no, it
No,
can't. It has to be reverse racism.
which the words together means it's not racist. It's no, it isn't
Exactly.
racism, you know.
I
And
know.
oh, jeez, I mean, dude, if you want to talk philosophy on that stuff, that's something else that just drives me nuts because I'm like, you know, like racism, like there's four races, you know, of according to whatever the science is behind it. But I was like, yeah, there's different cultures, and you know, yeah, people are different colored skin and stuff. But it's you know, it's I don't know. You have
I'm looking through the chat to see if I'm pissing anybody off.
I know that's why I just stopped. I just stopped. I was like, I don't want to go down rabbit holes here. I was like, we started having fun, and then I go, I try to ruin it.
Well,
I
so
try to ruin my own
somebody brought
channel all
up
the time.
Michigan politics.
Do what? Michigan politics?
Somebody brought up Michigan politics. I don't know who that was. No, but
Oh,
well, that was kind of like my introduction to law too.
hmm.
Was Viva Fry and him doing his stuff, and then so I started watching him, and then Nick Rekieta, and then other people, and I was like, oh, these guys have some fun, interesting stuff to say. And then I caught the. I feel like I watched the trial before. I like uncivil law. I started watching his constitutional breakdowns on stuff, and then I think it was the Rittenhouse trial that I started actually streaming trials and watching them. But that was my introduction to LawTube.
The Rittenhouse trial was. Uh, I was a fan of Nick's before that, you know, and he just like did goofball stuff, and then he would
Right.
read a case and explain to people, which that's really I love that. Like I thought that was really cool. Um, and then he's like, you know, that he's like, I am so dedicated to what they're charging Rittenhouse with is wrong that I'm going to watch. I'm going to live stream the entire thing. And so I watched a lot of that, and that's really the only real. I guess that's my first real trial I watched because I'm sitting there going, why am I going to watch somebody else doing this stuff? This is it's you know it's in Wisconsin anyway. Like they have some weird laws up there. I don't know what's different about it. I just know it's different. You know, Tennessee, it's you're used to the way things are here. You go to Alabama, and they have like a 30,000 page constitution. So it's you know everybody's. You go to Louisiana, it's all French law. What's going on? So anyway, the Rittenhouse thing. But what got me was at the end of the Rittenhouse trial. Do you remember when they were bringing up? All of a sudden, the FBI had a drone that had
Yes,
footage.
last minute.
That was weird, right?
That was yeah, kind of odd that all of a sudden they had this extra footage that nobody knew about.
Yeah, for
Um,
months.
mhm.
You
Well,
know?
and that's the other thing too. Like, people always confuse the idea that the police, first of all, are working for your interests. They're not. They're working for the state or the feds,
Don't
depending on
talk
what
to
they're
the
doing.
police.
But they always have discretion. Does a police officer have to cooperate with a district attorney or a prosecutor? Not really. They have discretion, even if it's their own prosecutor. They don't have to necessarily cooperate with it. So the idea that FBI would have something and didn't release it they don't have to. They have full discretion to do that. So it's very likely that they could have had something that they didn't give to anybody. But then all of a sudden they see this case kind of going south, and it's not good for them politically or whatever. You know, and so they hand it out to the district attorney there in Kenosha, and all of a sudden they have something. So it could be very well that the district attorney didn't have anything until that day. Um, it's even weirder though that it was introduced, and so
Oh,
I
what?
thought that it was introduced.
Oh, yeah.
Like I thought the judge was good in Rittenhouse
Yeah.
because mainly because of how he went after Finger, um,
Yeah.
very audibly sometimes. But then when you really think about it, he wasn't really that good. Like Rittenhouse won in spite of Judge Schroeder, um, and so he did allow a lot of things in, including that drone footage. There's no reason why that drone footage should have come in. It didn't show anything extra, and it just even confused the matter, caused a whole bunch of turmoil. But they were trying to win at all stops, and the judge was allowing them to do that. But I did. I saw Julie asked if I watched the Rittenhouse case. I did. I watched it on Mercatus channel.
Um, the thing also with the drone footage and all that stuff, all the video stuff that came out that day. Um, I remember, man, when I was in school, like you're going through like evidence, right? And uh, I love how casual I am. Like evidence, right? Anyway,
Yeah,
so
evidence.
you're taking evidence, and I asked a question one day because it's how to get stuff admitted to evidence, all that stuff. And by the way, I did horrible in the class. Don't ask me a question. I'm the guy. I found like my rules of evidence, like federal rules, the other day from Westlaw, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is so great! I'm gonna keep this next to my computer just in case." I got excited about it. That's the nerd thing, right?
Nice.
Uh,
Yes, it is.
but anyway, um, I asked the question. I said, "Okay, everything like we're kind of learning here. That you look at the cases and the years that are made that we're going over. I don't see like photographic evidence nowadays. Everything's a digital camera. Everything's a cell phone camera. How does that get in? Because that's it's manipulated. It's pixels. It is ones and zeros. It's a code that a man has written or AI now. Um, I was like, how does that get introduced to evidence? And of course, he gave me the whole big thing, and he goes back around to like it'd be the same way as a regular old fashioned 35 millimeter photograph. Uh, but then you get into the Rittenhouse, and it was that same question I remember asking. Was they started talking about the software and how like when you blow up the image, it's not a lens that's doing it; it's software, and how like this software will make it look like this, and this software will make it look like this. It's like
And it's guessing between those pixels because it doesn't have a clear enough resolution, so it's guessing at
it
what this should
assumes the
be.
pixels and they blend them together. And I was like, yeah, it's not real. It
It's
just
not.
it tricks your eye into seeing something that you can understand and relate to. But I was like, it was so weird, the whole thing. And of course, I think that
Did
whole
you
trial
were you
was
watching any of the Texas v. Ronald River case that I was covering? Did you
just
see
the
the
stuff that you
surveillance
covered.
video?
I
Did you
the stuff you covered, and then I read about it.
did you see the surveillance video that they had? They were
No,
tracking the guy's vehicle. It was like one of the last witnesses, and I swear these images are coming from satellites, and it's scary what the government can do, how close they can zoom in, and what they can see from the ground or on the ground from those satellites. I mean, it was crystal clear. You'd be like, oh, yeah, that's his truck there. That's
why
him
were
walking
they?
around.
Why did they have
They're right
satellite
on the
images?
border. They're right on the border. This
We
is a
have
border patrol
satellite
agent.
images.
They are watching everything that comes across that border. They were also what do you call it? Heat infrared
Infrared, yeah.
images. So they're like black and white, and you could see the infrared, and it was pretty damn clear. The defense didn't do a good job at all, so I don't know if there was a way to challenge a lot of that. How accurate it was. Was were the pixels being generated by a software or
Yeah.
anything? None of that was challenged, but it was scary how how close they could get with their cameras.
And you're
And it has
saying
to have been,
satellites, like in outer space satellites, not drones.
yeah, not drones.
Because I knew there were drones on the border, but satellites?
I think they were satellites. I'll have to go
I mean,
back and
think
look.
about that, man. As a
Maybe they were drones.
taxpayer, how does that make you feel?
Important, very important that the government wants to keep an eye on me.
Yeah,
I don't
right?
know. I don't. Yeah, no. It was crazy though. Just watching, I was like, because we were looking at it. This trial kind of dragged down a little bit, so I got kind of bored with it, and I was
Yeah.
drifting off, and I was working, and
Mhm.
all of a sudden I'm like, oh wait, we got some satellite photos here, and those are very crystal clear. That's amazing, the technology, and of course it's on the border, so we have them. But thermal and
It's,
infrared are different. Okay, well, maybe Captain Have Fun, but it was black and white and it showed thermal or infra. No, it was thermal. It was black and white. So the thermal or the infrared is the colorful.
digital night vision does that black and white.
Okay,
Which
so maybe it's digital night vision.
what's funny about that stuff is that it's you can buy it so cheap on Amazon now. It's crazy. Because all the circuits and everything, they're all coming from China. And so the Chinese, it doesn't take them long to figure out, hey, you know what? Let's just put them together ourselves. And then they sell them. And of course, like American night vision costs, like $5,000, and you can buy Chinese stuff, and everybody says it's junk. I'm like, it's really clear. It's really, really clear. But that's crazy, man. I didn't know that. That's
Yeah, it was kind of shocking, and it was like, oh, well, of course they have them on the border, but that they have them other places, and they had the drone footage. Why does the FBI have the drone footage and not release it? Of the Rittenhouse case where we started. Um, yeah, it was just the government has way too much power, way too many eyes. They're watching way too many people.
but they don't know how cocaine gets in the White House, right?
Yeah, yeah, they have no clue about that.
No, it's
They know
crazy.
exactly how that got there. They know exactly how that got there.
Yeah, it's Did you see
If it was a tourist, there would be charges.
Oh
That's all I'm
yeah,
gonna say.
dude. Yeah, you and I'd be underneath the place. Dude, matter of fact,
Yeah.
I don't think we need to go to DC. No, you're just yeah. I don't know. It's that's scary. Uh, okay, let me go a little bit. Ask you an opinion, personal opinion, and do it real simple. What do you think about like speed cameras, intersection like stoplight cameras and stuff?
I believe they violate your right to confrontation,
Yep,
uh, witnesses. And actually, they've been held unconstitutional in Michigan for that very reason. So we don't
that's
have them,
awesome.
although they just passed the law because safety that we're going to introduce them in traffic or in construction zones only. It's like, well,
Oh,
if they're unconstitutional regardless of where they are, but they're justifying it by added safety. And it's bullshit because what they're going to do is they're going to get them in there and have them regular, things in traffic or in construction zones, and then they're going to put them everywhere. So that's what they're going to do.
so what's funny is in Tennessee, I was like, why are these things popping up in Tennessee? Like Tennessee's a very like politically wise, I think West Virginia and South Dakota are the only two states that percentage voted higher for Trump than Tennessee did. So it's a very, very conservative, freedom loving state. You're thinking. It's and not that I mean I'm saying guys, it's okay. You can be either way. I don't care. Uh, I'm just that redneck good old boy type of mentality. So they start popping up here, and then everybody's like, well, of course I'm the same way. I think that it's you don't have the right to face your accuser, and what they were getting around it with, they were saying it was a civil fine, and if you didn't pay it, they turned you into a credit uh, collections. And of course, you don't pay it then, and then they ding your credit history. It was the weirdest thing, man. But they couldn't ban them in Tennessee because the legislature finally came in and they started getting enough votes to ban them. Because what was happening, these little towns were putting them up and dropping the speed limits. and so that they were just like a random tax at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
what they did was in Tennessee, you because you can't interfere with a contract, right? So all these
Right.
little towns and everything had all these like 5 year or 10 year contracts with the red light camera people. And so what Tennessee did, they ended up passing that you can't turn somebody into a credit bureau for running a speed camera or whatever. So they're all just sitting there useless now, right? Well, like the town that I'm in, like the one, like as an instance, like I know them, they're all their cameras are up and they're not taking them down because now they're in intersections and they say, well, we can monitor traffic. So if a red light camera needs to be turned green, we can sit here at this fancy computer and we can automatically turn it green and stuff. Meanwhile, I'm sitting there going, the lights don't ever turn green if you're coming from the other direction at nighttime. After 10 o'clock, man, it stays the other way. And
Yeah.
it's just, I think I'm like you. They're just putting the cameras up and they take a scan of every single license plate that goes through. That's the thing that gets me.
Well, and that's one of the things that who were they tracking down? Oh, I was watching this woman who killed her husband in South Dakota and then drove down to Florida, killed another woman, lived in her condo for a bit, and then ended up driving to Texas and uh, and hanging out in this small little town in Texas, like south of Galveston, until she was eventually caught. And they caught her because they tracked her vehicle through those cameras that were taking plates of license plates, and so that's how they tracked her down to Florida. They didn't know where she was living and what city she ended up in, but they knew she went to Florida, and they knew she left Florida and went to Texas somewhere. Once I think they got into Texas, then there's no camera, so they couldn't track her. But yeah, so they were tracking her through those license plate, the traffic cams that could spot the license plates.
And it kills me because I'm sitting here going like, why does the government need to know who's driving through the intersection?
Well, and what's interesting is, so I live in Detroit, and I have a friend who's a Detroit police commissioner,
Oh, cool.
and one of his big stances was against the facial recognition that they were, putting in place in Detroit. And he's been on my stream a couple of times. We were talking about that. This is years ago. This is like 4 years ago that he was on talking about that. But we both agree that you have a right to anonymity as a citizen. You have the right. It's not just the right to privacy. You can't search my home. You actually have a right to anonymity. So when you're walking down the street, you have the right for people not to know who you are, including the government, and or the right to just disappear one day and not tell your friends and family where you are. You have that absolute right to do that. And so I have a problem with this facial recognition stuff, with the with the cameras that are tracking your license plates and all of that, because you're violating that right of anonymity.
What about online? That's a big thing. And they keep saying like, oh well, you shouldn't be anonymous online because you get people that get to go on there and they get to do hate speech, all this stuff, and it's like, well, what is? I mean, you have that right to be anonymous, right?
Well, and that
So
was the beauty of net neutrality, but they started walking that back. Remember in the 90s?
yeah,
I mean, it was Wild West on the internet, and it was great. You could be anybody, and that was the beauty of the internet. And now they're walking that back so much that you can't even do that at some points. And that's what's like. So I've had my name out there on my channel since the beginning because I started doing it as a promotion for my law firm. But even if I was to start it up now, I don't think I'd hide my name because it doesn't matter. People could find you. Feral housewife will find you. So it's just you just don't have that ability anymore on the internet. Yeah, right.
yeah. Well, that's like Julia 503 says, weren't you just an avatar for a while? Well, I was like, yep, this would be me. How you guys doing tonight? We got Michigan Law here, Michigan Law Show. It's uh because even then, see, I got uh it was a weird like doxing thing, and it was just like anybody will find you if they want to, And but the thing is, I don't understand why somebody wants to, and I think that's where the intent of like, because you like the whole swatting thing. I mean, like that's illegal, but it happens all the time. Uh, but anyway, that's just internet problems. But yeah,
Well,
the right to be
anonymity cuts
anonymous,
both
though.
ways, right? So if you can't be anonymous on the internet, but then you're going to go swat somebody, they're going to find you because you also can't be anonymous on the internet. Whoever called in is going to be tracked down, and you can't be anonymous, no matter what. So all of you guys out there that are trying to do the swatting thing or tracking people down, we know, I know just as much about you, Farrell, as you do about me. And so I
Oh
know
man,
you're living in my attic.
you're
But
able to
yeah, it's
see
just interesting.
what website she goes on through your router.
Exactly. But no, it's
Uh,
just a different world we live in. It's not the 90s. It's not the anonymity. We are living in it's increasingly, for good or for bad. Everyone's out there. Everyone knows all the information. And it's interesting, my wife being Swedish and talking with other Europeans and stuff, all of that stuff is public record. If you want to know all the information about somebody, you can find that stuff in Europe. There's no anonymity, and they're cool with it, which is whatever. But we still like the idea of being able to walk down the street and be anonymous, going online and being anonymous.
what do you
So
think has caused our culture to change to where it's like you people they don't want you to be anonymous anymore, but at the same time now you start hearing about the swatting and stuff like that happening. um
entitlement and laziness, I think they went hand in
Entitlement
hand.
I get, but what's laziness? How what
Well, the laziness, like Chris Rock, if you watched his stand-up special most recently, he had a great thing. He's like, people want to be famous, and there's three ways, or not famous, but they want to be, known for something, or notoriety and things like that. And there's three ways to do it. You can um, work really hard and be really good at something. You can show your ass, or I forget the third one. I can't remember now. Um, or like essentially, you could be like an asshole, out there. Um, and because we know all three names of almost every serial killer, right? And so it's hard to be good at something and to work your ass off and be known for that, right? The easy way is to show your ass, but most of us out there are not going to get famous by showing our asses. It's just not. It's going to be that opposite effect. And so, but you could be a victim, right? You could be an asshole victim, and or you could be an asshole or a victim, and that's easy. That's lazy. Anyone can be a victim. You can virtual
yeah.
signal all you want. I'm victimized because I'm a straight white male, and anyone can be a victim, right? It's easy. It's lazy. And now I'm entitled to something as well because they see other people who have been victimized um, get something as a result. So yes, victim. John got it. Victim. Yeah. So it's really easy to be that victim, and you combine that with a sense of entitlement. You're victimizing me now. Your words, your words are let's say words are violence. So you're being violent towards me because I don't like your words. Now I have the right to be physically violent towards you, or dox you, or swat you, or whatever. It's that
Yeah.
entitlement combined with laziness. That's my thought.
Dude, I like that, man. That's one of the I mean that's one of the deepest. um I don't know. I mean, that's just thank you. First of all, just thank you. Like I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, man, this needs to be a clip to like always be played because like the victim thing, like that's something else. Is that's new? I think. Like, did you grow up being taught to be a victim?
No, no, no.
Right.
It was shameful to be a victim, right? I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we had the anti-bullying thing, but everyone got bullied, and and just you dealt with it. But no, you weren't like a perpetual victim. But the problem is they started rewarding people for being victims. And I don't mean like, you were beat up, so I filed suit and the guy got arrested or something like that. But I mean this faux victimhood. People started getting rewarded for it. And um and it's really easy to do.
dude.
It's
It
just
was
it's really
well,
easy to be a victim. You don't have to do anything and still be a victim. And so if you're getting rewarded for something that's easy to do, people are going to naturally generate towards that. Not everybody, but enough of a segment of society that now we kind of have a problem.
uh, the number one victim, professional victim of all time,
Hmm.
Hillary Clinton.
Okay, yeah,
And it's
yeah,
actually her words is where I learned. I was like, the first thing you do, you know, it, I joke around about it. I'm like, yeah, the first thing they teach you the first day of law school is make a victim out of yourself. And like she
yeah,
had said something about like her clients, something like that. It's like, you're the victim. You need to act like a victim. And it's so it's acting like a victim and something like that. And then you think about it, it's like, well, she was a victim of the vast conspiracies against her, and she was a victim of Russia. She was a victim of Bill, or I don't know, 20-year-old interns. She was a
right.
victim of cigars. I don't know, whatever she was.
Meanwhile, let's ignore the fact that she's white and privileged and comes from money. And well, she didn't really come from money, but she had a decent upbringing.
Well, wasn't
She's
she
not a victim.
related to Hillary, Sir Edmund Hillary? I don't
I don't. I
remember
don't
she
know.
said whatever. Um, yeah, but that's the victim thing, and I cannot ever think of somebody who's played that victim card better. And it was a shameful thing because that means that you let your guard down. That means that you put yourself in a position to be victimized. And of course, that doesn't always happen. That doesn't always happen. But some people, it's like you should have known. It's like that the horror movie. The cute girl who's gonna like she hears a noise and she's gonna start walking down the stairs
Right,
into the basement that's dark and has no lights because she heard a creepy noise.
right.
That's yeah. She's the professional victim. It's like, what are you
Yeah,
doing? You're in every one of these movies. Why are you
but
doing
it's
this?
even worse because now she wasn't attacked in that basement. She was just frightened from the noise. That
Yeah.
makes her the victim.
Yes, yes, you're right. It goes back to exactly what you said. You heard the noise is the words, and
Yeah,
I'm gonna go down there and teach you a lesson or something. And anyway,
yeah,
dude, it's
yeah.
so silly.
It is.
Uh,
It really is.
I don't know, man. It's just yeah, yeah, I'll tell you what, I have had such a fun time talking with you, and you can tell because I haven't been able to keep a straight conversation. I'm just going around like this. I'm like, ooh, 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 ooh. Like, it's like, I guess this has been great, and we are going to have to do this again sometime. But let's move away. Let's talk about some fun stuff real
All
quick.
right.
Um, so, thank you, by the way. Last night was Danielle's birthday, and you
Yeah, that
coming
was
on
awesome.
that was fun. And for the people that in the chat that have seen Friday Night Live before, of course, like I'm looking up, there's Volstorm. He's been on, and Diva. They've been on the Friday night since we started. That last night was what I've always imagined wanting it to be. It was so cool. And so now, my hard work in next is like how do you replicate that? And thank you for being a part of that. But also it was that fun. It was that we're going into the weekend. We're cool. We're just buddies hanging out. So, buddies hanging out. You want to go see a movie? What movie do you like? What do you have one coming up that you're waiting for?
Oppenheimer looks
That
really interesting. That looks really good.
I haven't seen anything about it. So sell me
So,
on it.
well, you know who Oppenheimer is, right? He is
Nuclear bomb.
yeah, the guy that developed the nuclear bomb. There's actually a TV show, kind of based around the Manhattan Project and the people working on it a number of years ago. I think it was on Prime. And that really was interesting to me about how they developed it all and all that. And I it follows Oppenheimer around it. What's interesting though is I don't know if you know. Well, you're a student of history. You might know this. Uh, they didn't know what was going to happen, right? They did the first test, and they're like, on paper, this might actually open up a black hole and just suck all of us in. Uh, the mathematics for the physics that they knew at the time thought that that might happen, and they still went through with it. That's the amazing thing. And so it's kind of the movie is supposed to be following him and his development, but a lot of these moral questions around it, in like, okay, yes, we're making a bomb, but this could also be useful, and they were trying to figure out how to capture the energy and while they were creating it, but they also didn't know what was going to happen. They were really nervous, this could be the end of existence because we literally have no idea what is going to happen. And that's the interesting part about these people is that they did all this not knowing what was going to happen.
Okay, so again, man, I love that thought right there. They did it not knowing what's going to happen. Like that is what history is full of. That like Christopher Columbus he's that guy, man. Like they told him he's going to fall off the end of the earth. He's going to be eaten by a sea monster. I mean everything. He goes, I just want to see what's out there.
Just want to see
You
Magellan
know? Yeah.
just sail around because I just want to know what's out there, what's going to happen, what we're going to see.
Look at the
Yeah,
pilgrims, man. I mean, like it was like, wait a second, we're gonna go someplace where there is no civilization, and we're gonna have to chop down trees to build houses. Okay, sign me up. What is? Well, I mean, you're a wood guy. You probably be like, oh yeah, I could do that in a week. But I mean, for a dummy like me, I'm like, I'm not getting on a boat with you
mind you,
people.
when they came over, there was like a couple of civilization or not civilizations, but settlements that already like went extinct, and so
Oh
they didn't
yeah,
survive. No one came home, but we're gonna go do it again.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, and that's what sold me on the movie. I
Hmm.
saw the trailer when I went and saw Indiana Jones, and but that whole angle, and I remember learning that they didn't know what was going to happen. But that whole angle that they portrayed in the trailer really got me interested in the movie, and that's kind of what I
From
want to see. I want to see how they deal with that.
from that time of the bomb, from we'll say from Oppenheimer here on to today. Can you think of a time in history where we did that, we didn't know what was going to happen and did it anyway?
Well, I mean, you could talk about, mission to the moon, sending
Yeah.
rockets up and stuff like that. But I think we're now on a scale of it's more of an individual experience. And some of the things that people do on an individual level is amazing to me. Um, my wife is Swedish,
Hmm.
born and raised in Sweden. When she was 18, she came to Detroit because she had a pen pal, and so she came to Detroit and um, met the pen pal and some other friends and stuff like that, and then went home again, and then decided, you know what, I'm just going to move to America, and packed up and moved to America. How many people out there would just be like, I'm moving to another country. That's it. I'm just going to go to another country.
Dude, I've had that
That's
thought
amazing to
recently.
me that she was brave enough to do that. Because
Dude,
I
you're
don't
not
think
going to
I
get
would
rid of
be.
all your Millennium Falcons, because you can't take
Yeah,
that with
no,
you.
no, I'm
You
not.
know how expensive that would be to ship that overseas?
Yeah, no, I'm not. But
Yeah.
but even at 18, I don't want to be brave enough to do that. And so I think we're talking about like more on an individual level. And that bravery is inspiring to me. And it doesn't matter what you're doing. It's just stepping out into the unknown, or even like creating a freaking YouTube channel or whatever you're doing. Stepping out into that unknown, the bravery to have to do that. It's very inspiring across the board. But I think we have more individual things like that as opposed to these grand um, adventures or grand experiments and things like that. I think it's more of an individual experience these days. Like the world's been discovered, it's been mapped. We have nuclear fission. We're working on nuclear fusion. I think we figured that out. But I don't know if there's the unknowns anymore. I think we've got most of the elements. It's more of an individual experience now.
So, I covered that Titan submersible thing, right? You know,
Yeah.
the sub that imploded.
Hmm.
And at one point in there, I was talking, I was like, these guys might actually, if you won't flip the coin, besides because we all think, oh, look, they're idiots to get into a hot water heater, you know. But if you flip the coin, I was like, well, wait a second, you got to be kind of brave to do that, And it's like, and you built your own
Or
sub.
stupid.
Yeah, true, true. Greed, maybe greed, I don't know, but it's like you're building your own sub to go see the Titanic. I was like, that's weird. But when you think about like how like the ocean, we're talking about we're going to put a colony on Mars in the next 20 years. We got to raise taxes and do all this other spending on it. But yet we can't go to the depths of the ocean. We don't know what's on our own planet still. That I don't know. That amazes me. And like when thought about it, I was like, maybe this is the next explorer thing. This was. Will somebody look at that design and think, I can build a better design than that? And even though it was tragedy, will that inspire people to start making more of these things and do their own thing? I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That's a weird thought process in my brain, but I don't know.
Would you
Besides,
go to Mars? Would you go to Mars? They said, "Hey, we
no,
got a ticket for the expert."
no, I've been to Vegas, man. You know,
Imagine it looks a little different.
well, it's a lot of sand, a lot of
Yeah. Well, all right.
you get off the strip, man. There's not much going on. What are you gonna do on Mars? You're gonna
I
sit
don't
around and go,
know.
"Hey,
Go
I'm
look
on Mars.
around.
It's gonna be cool for a day," and then you're gonna think to yourself, "Man, I sure do wish I had that new Nintendo that came out.
Yeah,
I
right.
wish I
I
had
missed
stayed at
out on
home and
that.
spent my money on Millennium Falcon." But I don't know. Would you go to Mars?
No, no, no. I like
And
home. I like home.
how about this? Would you go into space? Jeff Bezos is taking people up there. That's what I'm asking.
Yeah, I've been asked that since the whole Titan thing. Like, I don't know if I feel like I'd be more comfortable going underwater than going to space. I don't know. I don't know if I'd
I
do
don't like
that.
heights.
Well,
That's a
don't
big
look
thing.
down, right?
I mean, but I don't know, man. You're sitting there and you're on a bottle rocket,
Yeah,
and
I know. I don't. The ability not to go home, I think, would be the problem for me. I well, or maybe not in control. Like so during the vid, we saw a story that my wife and I decided we were going to drive out to Butte, Montana, because it had the oldest continuing operating Chinese restaurant in America was in Butte, Montana. So we're like, you know what? We don't have the
dude, I
kids.
love you, man.
We're
I went to
off.
the oldest Italian restaurant in Philadelphia just because it was.
Yeah, exactly, right. And we're like, you know what? Screw it. We're driving to Butte, Montana. So we drove
You're
all
like,
the way
we're
out
the
there.
same, man. Why did you do that? It was there.
It was there. It was
It
there.
just seems. How did
Yep.
they make it so long? They have a story. I want to hear it. I want to be part of that. That's
Hmm.
awesome. That's so cool.
So
Was it
we drove
good?
all the way out there. No, it was shit. That was what even makes it better. It was like the worst
Yes.
Chinese food I've ever had. Um,
Yes.
but we drove out there, and of course, the day we get out there too. By the way, it was closed. It was like wasn't opening to the next day. So then we like, oh, we have to stay another day. And then we finally get in there, and I ordered like shrimp fried rice and some egg rolls and whatever. And like the egg rolls were obviously frozen, the shrimp was
Oh,
cold, and I'm like, this is just perfect. But no, you drive through the mountains, right? And you're in Montana, right? Big sky country, and it is big sky. But you look
yeah.
around and you see the ridge of mountains all around you. When you're in Butte, you're just surrounded by mountains. And you're like, I can't easily go home without going through those mountains again. It was almost claustrophobic because it's going to take an effort to go through those mountains, even in the car. You ever drive through those roads, it's not just like driving on a highway. So you get that feeling. I think I'd have that same feeling in space. Like it's not going to be easy for me to get home. Um,
N-
but underwater, I just float up. Well, most of the time, you just
Yeah,
float up.
most of the time. Well, it's funny, like, because like when I see that sub thing and everything, I'm thinking, like there's got to be people that want to just, I would go maybe like in the Caribbean, like you go underwater, look up at the fish going over you. That might be cool. I don't know. I don't see myself really doing that. I could go to an aquarium, but anyway.
Well, you can do that
Uh,
snorkeling though. That's the thing. You don't need a sub to do all that.
yeah, but if I'm in a
Um,
sub, I don't have to worry. I'm less likely to be eaten by a shark.
True. Yeah, that's
Yes,
true.
I don't. I have a fear of sharks. Yeah, stupid
Well, you live
jaws,
in
man.
Tennessee, right? So yeah,
Yeah,
or you're from Tennessee, so no oceans around you, anyways.
not yet. Al Gore keeps saying there's going to be one, but it's been 20
It's
years.
supposed to
Like
be
we're supposed to have
25.
beachfront property 20 years ago or something. I don't
I
know.
know,
Whatever he
right?
said. My entire life,
I
it was supposed to
remember.
be the beach. I wake up every
I
morning. I'm like,
remember
there's no
listening to that,
beach.
and I saw his map, like projection, and I was like, "Oh, well, I live right there. I'm cool. I'm good." I was supposed to be like closer to the water. Damn it!
Yeah, I know. I know. And they're and- it's so bad, man. I said
Uh,
one time, I was like, well, how come you can't ever get to the beach without going through a trailer park? It seems
that's an
like there's,
interesting thought.
yeah, you're always going through a trailer park right before you get to the beach. And I'm like, I can't afford to live at the beach, but there's a trailer park all up and down the East Coast. I'm like, what is going on here? So
We
I
have
figured
this
it'd be
lake out by us, and like the most prime spot
trailer.
to go to. Of course, it's a trailer park, and it's like one of those like run down ones with trailers from the '70s. You're
Yeah.
like, yep, that's the prime spot right there on that lake.
And you're sitting there now today going like, what is going on here? And, somebody said, hey, you know what? It might just be a trailer park today, but in 30 years, all these rich people are going to be this thing and they wish they had a trailer here. I mean, I don't know what it is. Yeah, it's trailer parks and water is a thing. All right, hang on real quick. So listen, I put a poll up. Guys, I'm going to close the poll. So if you want to vote, it is what do you think is a better snack for streaming? Potato chips or popcorn? So, or I wish I could just have it write it in and be like, I don't know what people would put. Probably Jello shots. Uh,
Jello shots. I like cheese. I don't know why. When I'm streaming, I eat a lot of cheese. It's weird. Is
like, do you
that
have?
weird?
Well, hold on. It might be. It might not be. Are you getting like American cheese and open up the slices like
Oh
that, or are
God,
you
no,
getting?
no. I'm a cheese snob. I hate the American
Oh,
cheese.
dude.
I like a good cheddar.
Mm-hmm.
I could do a smoked Gouda,
Oh, dude.
or I just chop it up and just start eating it. I don't know why I eat it at
Isn't
streams.
the smoked Gouda? I think that is like the most underrated cheese there is.
It is.
It,
It is. Like people don't know it. It's you don't buy it regularly on the shelves. It's not stocked up, but
it,
it's so good.
I'll take Gouda any way I can get it. Smoked is incredible, but I mean, it melts so good, and it's underrated. I think, of course, I love a good cheddar. Luckily, you can find that. Like a provolone and a Swiss are kind of hard to find real good. But oh man, I love blue cheese too. That's a
Do you
good one.
like blue cheese?
Do you
I'm
not like
not a
blue
huge
cheese?
fan of. No, I'm not a huge fan. I'll eat it in the salads and stuff, but it can't be like the primary. Like I don't like a ton of blue cheese on a steak or something. I know you get that where it's like all on top of the steak. I don't.
Steak's gotta be steak.
Yeah,
It's a steak,
but I'm
and
not popping chunks of blue cheese in my mouth while I'm streaming. I,
oh
I
no,
got
dude,
to
that
have
would,
it with something.
yeah, yeah, dude. No, I just like a good blue cheese. Like, I don't know. Sometimes they have like a a banquet spread or something. They'll have like that big cut of blue cheese, and like I don't know, it just gets the room temperature, and you have they're not the cheap crackers I get. The
Yeah,
clubhouse crackers or
the
whatever. Yeah,
right.
it's really good. It's good. I like it with balsamic vinegar dressing. I like blue cheese crumbles.
Okay.
for a salad. But yeah,
Have
Gouda
you
though,
seen
man.
Have you
That's
seen the videos this guy put together called Internet Drama, where he takes like internet drama and makes it into a song? I, no,
no, but that's
I'll send
awesome.
I'll send you something, but it's awesome. And then he got picked up by oh God, what's his name? One of the late night talk show guys. And so they did a video with him,
Hmm.
and it's all about which salad dressing is your favorite. It was like a poll on Facebook, and someone said
Oh,
blue cheese, and
awesome.
this woman was like, blue cheese has mold in it. And then someone else commented blue cheese, and she's like, blue cheese has mold in it. And and so, but they sing it, and it's absolutely hilarious. Um,
But you know what's funny is it's the veins. All cheese has the same mold, right?
I know all cheese has mold in it. I know that was what's funny about it.
Well, listen, I closed the poll and popcorn got 56% of the vote.
Nice. Oh, there's nothing
Yeah.
wrong. Popcorn is just a go-to anywhere you are.
There have been popcorn places popping up around. Popcorn places popping up around. I did that by accident. But anyway,
Say it
where like
again.
they
Say
have
it
like the
again.
gourmet popcorns and all that stuff, and I'm like, I just want like movie theater popcorn. I like it hot and buttery. You
I
know?
got a place up that I go to. It's this little old lady. She's got like a little booth off the side of the road, and she makes. I have this weird thing with my palate, where if I have something sweet, I have to have something savory or salty. And so,
Yes,
so
dude,
I
it's
get
perfect, man.
I get
That's
the
what makes. Go on.
I was just say I get the butter corn, and then I get
Mhm.
the kettle corn, which is kind of sweet but also
Yes.
salty, and then I get the caramel corn that she makes as well. So I always get three, and I got to put all three out on the plate, and I got to kind of go around, because I
Dude,
got
you
to
sound
balance
like
it out.
the those Christmas tins, those popcorn tins at Christmas time. It had
Yeah,
like
yeah,
the
yeah.
cheese, the butter, and the caramel. Dude, that's my guilty pleasure. I love those things. I don't know why. But you said the savory uh, sea salt on caramel,
That that's my favorite candy. Anything sea salt caramel.
dude. It's crack, dude. It's
It
just
is. It is. You can't
it's
put it
so
down.
dude. It's
You
so
can't keep that
awesome.
stuff in the house.
And my wife, she really loves it, and she kind of got me into it. And she is a huge fan of like caramel milkshakes. And I'm like, okay, like I didn't think of that. And there's one place in particular they have the sea salt caramel milkshakes. It's like you start drinking and you're like, oh yeah, this is good. Okay, like it's not what I was expecting at first. And like, oh okay, well this is really good. And then all of a sudden, like you get a little piece of that sea salt. You're like, oh boy. Oh yeah, that was just where did that come from? That was like getting some Gatorade after the first quarter. It's like, whoa, hey, I feel better now. This is great. Oh yeah,
Always get the salt on your margarita.
oh dude, the salt's the best part of everything, right? But yes, the salt, man, it's
You ever
oh
put
dude.
salt on watermelon?
I don't eat watermelon, but yes, I don't know how anybody I don't know anybody who eats watermelon without salt.
Oh, like anyone up here eats it without salt.
Yeah, but
I'm
you
I'm
got a lot of
weird for putting salt
Yankees.
on it.
See.
Yeah.
I will
Uh,
give you I give everybody from the north a hard time.
that's okay. We deserve it. You guys should have won. That's all I'm gonna say. You guys should have won.
We haven't had a chance to. But dude, I saw a video. Sorry, see, I was going to go off on nerd stuff on history for a second there. I love like battlefield stuff because I couldn't imagine doing it. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing to think that these dudes grabbed rifles, went out there in the mud in a field, and were going at it with neighbors. It's just I don't know. Well, listen, man. Is there anything else, guys? You have to go subscribe to Michigan Law Show. It's in the description. You'll see it says at MLS Law Show. Click that. It takes you to this channel. Hit subscribe. Please hit the likes. Please come back. So listen, how do I get you back over here?
Man, hit me up if I'm between a trial. Weekends are best, most likely.
Well,
But
that's
yeah,
awesome.
anytime, anytime. Let me know.
Because we need
And
to have like we need some more of these like wind down things. Like, we can just. I mean,
I can
me,
talk
I
about
try to.
anything for a long time. I like talking and conversing with people that have reasonable and or that are reasonable and have something intelligent to say. And that's why you're the expert,
Oh
right?
well, you want me back
Someone
here?
once asked me, "What makes you the expert?" And I said, "I don't know him very well. However, I've seen some of his streams, and he listens a lot. And there's stupid people talk and wise people listen. And so I said that's what makes him the expert.
Oh,
And so the
well,
fact that
thank
you
you.
like interviews and doing things like that, that's how you learn. And you can have good conversation and about anything, literally from cheese to Oppenheimer.
It's
So
crazy how we can go around the thing. I knew as soon as we talked before this, I was like, oh boy, we're ruined. And it's like when I did the interview with Valhalla, uh, like we had talked a lot, we knew each other, but like I knew I wanted to talk to him about a part of his life that he doesn't talk about that much. And so, his time in the service and stuff. And I was like, we started talking about it. And I just thought it was just, we had a great time. Really cool. But I don't know. I like people's
Josie's in the
stories.
chat. Hi, Josie. I just see you there.
Oh, hang on.
It's me, Josie. She's awesome.
Right here.
Yep. Hello. Welcome. We're winding down.
Hello.
We've been going for 3 hours now. Where you been?
Oh, geez, dude. I thought it was an hour ago. I was going to get off. I'm so sorry, man. I tried to, yeah, I screwed up. Guys, listen, chat, I love you guys. Thank you so much for getting us together. Dude, we'll have to, I don't know, we'll have to figure out what's next. But thank you so much for coming on. This has been a hoot. I usually don't stream on Saturday nights, so this has really been fun. This is,
Good. I'm glad. I'm
um,
glad. Thank you for having me on and check me out. And well, there we go.
dude,
I can't do it right yet.
your channel's going to blow up. It's everybody that um, like for you, like you have these big people. You talk about like Emily Baker, for instance, because she's like one of the biggest. Uh, there are people that are looking for a smaller channel where they can get in the chat and they can talk to you and stuff. And you're just gonna be awesome, man. I'm so glad that I got to talk to you before you became Emily Baker size.
I
It's just
don't want that pressure. Whew. I like being small. I like being, you know what? No, we'll talk about it. We'll talk for another stream. For another stream.
that sounds awesome.
We're winding up.
Good night, everybody. Be safe. Tomorrow night is movie night. I don't know what I'm gonna do it early or because I gotta go out. I've got Monday's a big day of stupidness. So anyway, guys, my guys, I'll talk to you guys later. Everybody from MLS Law Show, thank you for coming over. And it's do what you gotta do.
I woke up to go get me a cold pop, and then I thought somebody was barbecuing. I said, oh Lord Jesus, it's a fire. Then I ran out. I didn't grab no shoes or nothing, Jesus. I ran for my life. And then the smoke got her. I got bronchitis. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time for that. Well, I woke up to go get me a cold pop. Then I thought somebody was barbecuing. I said, oh